Hi guys, it's Brian for live stream number 14. Today is February 10th. Sorry for the 6-minute delay. Glad I'm finally here. But yeah, how's everyone doing tonight? So let's get to the chat. All right. Epic says, "Hey, when you starting, bro? By the way, how are you doing?" Well, I'm starting now, and I'm doing pretty good, Epic. My brother just came to visit us, and well, my oldest brother, and yeah, I haven't seen him in a while, and yeah, I'm pretty good right now. I came from work as well. I'm in the middle of kind of like a rainstorm, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm glad I came home because man, that I mean, I live in Georgia, so we had some serious rain here. So yeah, but I'm doing really good, Epic. Thank you for asking. Dan says we definitely need to talk about that new teaser. Yeah, absolutely, Dan, and I definitely want to talk about that. That was a really good teaser, I'll admit. Although I don't understand why Scott Gimple was in it. You know what I mean? Like, I get it, he's the chief content officer, but you know what I mean? It's like I don't know. I feel like still he should not be there. Talking about The Walking Dead in general. I don't know. It's just something. Let's see. Epic says, "Yeah, saw it. It was awesome teaser. Yeah, it was definitely an awesome teaser. Epic, really good. I'm surprised they gave us that because like I'm kind of worried they're showing a little too much. By the way, guys, I heard from Renee, who is another Walking Dead YouTuber, and he said that the spoilers for episode 9 are out. And I did not see Ronnie Hayes' new video, but it was about the reviews for episode 9 and 10. And I think he said there were, I don't know if you guys seen it, but I think he said there were maybe spoilers in them, like in the reviews. So I did not watch them, and I don't know if you guys did, but yeah, I'm just letting you know. We're only like less than 2 weeks away from the episode, so please no spoilers or any kind of rumors you guys might have heard. So yeah, let's get on with. Let's continue. And I said earlier it was going to be 5 minutes delay, and Dan says, "No worries, man. Take your time." Well, thank you, Dan. I'm really glad I came. Like I said, like I came from work after a huge rainstorm, and my brother visited us, and also like I was actually having some trouble like setting up the live stream. I don't know why, but it always takes me 10 minutes to open up Streamlabs, on my computer. I don't know why it does that. It takes forever. Let's see. Eastside Badger says seeing Gimp in the teaser has Brian all messed up. It did me. Yeah. I don't know. Just when I saw him in the teaser, it just felt off to me. You know what I mean? Like he's a chief content officer. Like he should be doing the movies right now, not the main show. Like I'm sorry, but that should be like he that should be Angela Kang's main responsibility, not his. I'm just saying like he could still watch the show, you know what I mean? Still have, ask Angela Kang where she's taking it and all that. But the fact that he's still talking about it, like he should be doing the movies now? I don't know. It's just weird. Eastside Badger says, low key, Eugene's only chance with Sweet Rosita would be, in fact, a death scene. Dude got friend zoned harder than Abraham got smacked with Lucy. Um, I mean, yeah, unfortunately, that's true. By the way, guys, I'm in the middle, like, there's a lot of rain going on in my house. I'm not, so hopefully the live stream doesn't cut or anything, or hopefully you guys don't get buffering or whatever. Just to let you know. So if something happens with the live stream, like, just don't be surprised if I have to cut it short tonight if something happens, but hopefully it doesn't. So yeah, as far as Eugene with Sweet Rosita, yeah, Isa Badger, I know you love Rosita. I do too, but obviously she's no Alicia. But it's funny, like I put in the thumbnail, not even in your dreams, Eugene. But I actually think this is a hallucination from Eugene. I don't think this is a real scene we're gonna get in the story. Even though Rosita has a bandage, it just seems fake to me. And yeah, so thank you for the comment. And by the way, I want to thank you all for coming tonight. Really appreciate it. I mean, live stream number 14. It's just crazy. We're like, we're 13 more days away from The Walking Dead returning. That's just crazy. Can't wait. Let's see. Dan says, yeah, this can't be real. If it is, I'll be shocked. Yeah, me too, Dan, because, like, she's kind of still with, Rosita's still with Father Gabriel at the moment. So it would kind of be like she's cheating on him. And not only that, but I just don't know. I just don't see why both Eugene and Rosita will be out here. And Rosita kind of looks happy, you know what I mean? I don't get that vibe. And Eugene doesn't look that happy. Like he looks kind of sad. So something is going on here. Let's see. I'm gonna try and pick up the pace a little bit. Epic says, "Hey Brian, I know this isn't a Walking Dead question, but are you into the Titanic as much as me? Just curious." Oh, you're talking about the Titanic movie. I mean, it was a really well done movie, like budget wise, but I mean, I remember when I was a kid, my mom, and my grandmother, they always watched it, and I would come down a little bit and watch a little bit with them. But as far as like a big fan of Titanic, I am not a big fan of the Titanic movie, but like it just wasn't my thing. It's kind of like a disaster movie, and I don't know. I guess I'm not really a big fan of those, and I don't know. Just it was sad as well, and it's very real. So unfortunately, that's the thing about like real events, like that kind of gets me in movies, just because that actually happened. So it's yeah. So sometimes I can't enjoy a real life movie as much as like a fictional movie. It's just personally how I am. Thank you for the question, Epic. And by the way, Epic, it doesn't have to just be a Walking Dead question. It could be something else. You know what I mean? Uh, anything like anything you want to know about me, as long as it's appropriate. And you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you can ask away. Eastside Badger says only one person is qualified to hold Lucille, and that is Negan. Yes, that's correct, Eastside Badger. I don't know. We still haven't seen the part where Michonne is holding Lucille, and I think that's fake. It just got to be fake. Michonne does not have Lucille with her, and I don't see her making Lucille. So it's just got to be fake. And oh, by the way, I definitely so some of you guys were worried that episode 10 was going to be a bottle episode, and I don't think so because I looked it up, and the synopsis, if you guys go to the wiki, the synopsis for episode 10 has changed to the survivors hold off an attack in Alexandria or something like that. Like they have to defend Alexandria from an outside force. So I think that episode is going to be the attack on Alexandria from the Whispers. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna get a bottle episode. I'm so glad. And Dan says definitely, yeah, Negan is the only one who should be able to hold Lucille. Um, let's see. Epic says, by the way, one thing I hated about Negan in season 7 was how cocky and full of himself he was. Like I hated how he just rubbed it in our face when he was in charge. Yeah, I hated that too, Epic. I mean, in the comic, Negan like he wasn't just like he didn't just show his men in front of Rick's face. You know what I mean? Like Negan himself was threatening, and Negan was at times actually being reasonable. But in the show, it's just so weird. Like, he threatens Olivia just because two guns are missing, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like Negan, like you're being unreasonable here. You know what I mean? Like Negan says says he's reasonable, kills one of our survivors for 50 of his, but then he kills another one just for Daryl punching him. He threatens to kill someone if he doesn't get just two guns. Like, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it's like, it was just weird. But yeah, Negan, he underestimated Rick's group big time. I mean, like, he should have just, I don't know, Negan should not have underestimated Rick's group. Sure, he broke Rick in the season 7 premiere, but he should have realized that, hey, these people might get an idea, you know what I mean? And they're going to hate me, all that stuff. We're never going to be friends. And I can't underestimate them, like even the slightest. I mean, he underestimated Rosita and he almost got killed. You know what I mean? Did he really think he could just kill Spencer, make a joke about it, and just, at least in the comic, he did that in private. Um, so yeah, good comment. Looks like I gotta speed this up. Let's see. Eastside Badger says, Gimp is running The Walking Dead. Kang is a front to get fans off AMC's back. After 10A episode 2, I am sure of it. Yeah, I mean, I partially agree, Eastside Badger. I definitely think that, well, okay, so I don't think Scott Gimple has enough time to write all of The Walking Dead. There's just no way. Like, Scott Gimple himself couldn't even have done the main show. But like there's Fear he has to help work on, there's the movies. So I don't think he has a huge part in the main show, but I do think he's running some things behind the scenes. But I think Angela King has a say in which characters, survive, how they that die, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? I think she has a say in what scenes happen in the episodes, but I think that Gimple is probably running like people's contracts here and there. So yeah. Dan says, I found it, let's see, I found it kind of fun at times, but it was a bit much. I agree. I'll agree. Yeah, I agree, Dan. I mean, like the part where Negan had like the camcorder, like Rick's, you know what I mean, the camcorder that Deanna used, like that was fine, but other times like it just did not work. Like when Negan was being like jokish. So yeah. Let's see. And Epic says I meant the ship and its history as a whole. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, as far as like Titanic, yeah, I'm not a big Titanic fan, Epic. Like the ship in general. I just like I don't know, it's just one of those things like I never really got to in history. I mean, I love history. I mean, it was one of my it was like probably my favorite subject in high school and college, but unfortunately I never really got a chance to do a lot of history or study it, and history never really talked about the Titanic. It was incredibly rare. Eastside Badger says, "Epic, I love that Negan." Oh, he says to Epic, "I love that Negan. He fed Carl and Judith and Olivia spaghetti." Yeah, he did, but like I don't know. It's just then he had like indirectly had Olivia killed just because no one was telling him who made the bullet. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. Like Negan is fun in some ways, and then he just goes off like in the wrong way. Like I just don't get that. And I get it. Negan's supposed to have a like tense personality. He's supposed to be the villain, but I just don't know like what they're doing with him sometime. Or I didn't know what they were doing with him, because like there was that part where he almost killed Carl. Like I don't know, it's just a little inconsistent. Dan says Titanic was so sad, I just couldn't do it. Yeah, I agree, Dan. It's just one of those things where it's like it's real life, so that kind of is more. It's kind of darker, you know what I mean? So yeah. Plus, like, I'm not really a fan of disaster movies. And you say good writing, though, I'll give them that. Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's real life. Let's see. Eastside Badger says, will the Georgia Bulldogs win a natty in football? I have my doubts. Hold on, let me scroll down. I'm not really sure, Eastside Badger. I'm not at all a Georgia Bulldogs fan. Or a football fan. Like I do not have any. You know what I mean? Like I don't have any preference. You know what I mean? Sure, like I want my state to win, I guess, but it's like football is so not important to me in my life. Like football is one of the like soccer is more important to my life, and I don't even do soccer. It's just more in my childhood. Dan says episode 10 will be great after all. Yeah, I hope so, Dan. I mean, from the synopsis, it definitely sounds like, or yeah, it sounds like episode 10 is going to be Beta invading Alexandria. And like, I know this wasn't covered, but I think he crawls in Alexandria from the graves. So yeah, Dan said, oh, sorry, Eastside Badger says, Dan, it better be, geez, I need some Walking Dead. Yeah, me too, Eastside Badger. I am just so ready for new Walking Dead content. I mean, I'm not that excited about World Beyond, and last time we talked about how we would write Fear the Walking Dead Season 6 better than the actual writers. So, also we talked about how the Rick movies are, who knows, never going to happen, maybe. At least the first one will probably be done. Like, I would say like 60% chance. But talking about the main show is always fun, but we're just running out, and we can't talk about the video games too much because Dan still needs to get caught up on seasons 2 to 4. So yeah, I mean, just it's like, what is there to talk about? Let's see. Dan says it's starting to look really promising, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree, Dan. Now that we know, well, most likely since episode 10 is not going to be a flashback bottle episode, I definitely think that like the second half is looking even better now. Let's see. Epic says, like literally, I hated how he kept saying that everyone and everything was his. I understand why he was so hated in the show in season 7. Yeah, they definitely, did that a little bit too much. Like sometimes they went too much. Like he's like, I want Daryl, I want all the guns, I want every, you know, grain, grain of powdered lemonade. I think he said something like that, and I'm just like, okay, that's a bit much. Like, you know what I mean? Like he wants every like piece or I don't know how you say that, but the powdered lemonade. It's just like, come on, Negan, you are really just stretching it thin here. I mean, he even put like a Lucille, like when he was feeding Carl spaghetti, he even put Lucille on the table. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know, like it was just drug out. Maybe you guys like that, but I'm not. I wasn't really too big of a fan of that. Eastside Badger says, if Magna dies, we party. That's a good one, Eastside Badger. I'm just not a fan of Magna, and I saw the new teaser, and Magna still. I mean, she was talking to Carol. She's like, What were you thinking going out there on your own?" Well, to be fair, Magna, you fell in the cave with everyone, so you weren't exactly careful either. And two, why are you whispering? You know what I mean? Like the walkers know you're there. I just don't get it. Like, why is Magna? Why does she whisper? It seems like she whispers to everyone. She whispers to Yumiko when they're in the room arguing. With their relationship, and I don't know. Like Magna sometimes yells, sure, but I just don't get it. Like I mean, she's not a whisperer, but she's a whisperer. You know what I'm saying? Dan says agreed. Eastside Badger says Gimple said on Talking Dead it took him and his writers 30 days to write a season of The Walking Dead, so The Walking Dead Fear, World Beyond, and movie would take 3 to 4 months. I mean, they. I don't know, Eastside Badger. I mean, didn't they start writing as the script for the movie as soon as like last year when Andrew Lincoln left The Walking Dead, when Rick disappeared? Didn't they start writing it? I mean, they should have. Let's see. And you say very possible and very likely he's in charge of writing. Well, that worries me, Eastside Badger, because like I said, Gimple, he's good at writing chunks. You know what I mean, like lengthwise, but he definitely needs someone to touch up, some areas in his writing. Dan says they need to change that. He's dangerous. LOL. Are you talking about Gimple, Dan? I'm pretty sure you are. Yeah, I mean, Gimple's writing can be dangerous. I mean, really dangerous. Season 7 and 8 of the main show, Fear is season 4, 5. I mean, sheesh, like the writing is it's dangerous. It hurts. Eastside Badger says Beta is gonna burn Alexandria down. Not literally, but someone's gonna get their salad tossed. That's a good one, Eastside Badger. Thanks for the laugh. Yeah, I mean, he is gonna chop up some. He's gonna chop up some. Or he's gonna make some sushi, I guess. Yeah, who wants sushi? I guess from Beta. I mean, it's just crazy because like Michonne's not gonna be there. Daryl's probably not gonna be there. Carol's probably not gonna be there. Like, think about this. Alexandra's gonna get attacked, and the only people who are gonna defend it is Gabriel. Let's see, Gabriel, Scott, and Laura. I'm willing to bet those are the pretty much only fighters left in Alexandria, like the main ones. And I saw this in the teaser or the trailer that came out on AMC they released it like a couple hours ago, and Dan put it on his channel. And Father Gabriel was talking to someone in a cell. He said, "You're hiding something," and he's got to be talking to Gamma. So I think what happens is Gamma comes to Alexandria and says that the Alpha has trapped their group, and with the walkers, and then they decide to lock her up in the jail cell, and then Father Gabriel says she's hiding something. So maybe Gamma saw Negan, or I don't know, maybe she says something like, we have a new member or something, this guy named Negan. He says he's from here. You know what I mean? I don't know, just something like that. Maybe Father Gabriel will find out that Negan is with the Whisperers. Let's see. Eastside Badger says Negan wanted and deserved everything. I love it. Or I loved it. I'm not sure what you mean. Negan wanted and deserved everything. I loved it. Oh, you mean wanting everything in Alexandria. Yeah, but it was kind of like confusing at times. Like he took people, you know what I mean? Like kind of like slaves, you know? Like he wanted to take Maggie too, I think. So it was just weird. Like they kind of went too far with it a bit. You know what I mean? Let's see. Dan says Beta is a character they could definitely use in season 11, in my opinion. I hope so, at least. Yeah, I agree, Dan. I really think that I mean, it's possible, but I really think season 10 should end with Alpha being dead, most of the Whisperers being dead, and a good chunk of the Horde dead, but Beta is still alive, and he directs the herd to Alexandria, and they destroy, or they crash down the walls, and the season ends with the group surrounded, by walkers. And then maybe so it's not too similar to the mid-season finale, you could then have Eugene, Yumiko, and Ezekiel. They're in the dark. They're looking around, and then all of a sudden they get surrounded by men with guns and flashlights. So or spotlights. So I think they should do like a combination of those things. Epic says, "Yeah, that's dumb. Also, I hate how Magna is yelling at Carol and blaming her in the teaser. I mean, I don't blame her for blaming Carol, but she's not yelling. Magna's not really yelling at Carol. She's kind of whispering it. And that's where I have the issue, because I'm like, why is she whispering it? You know what I mean? It was just kind of weird. Let's see. Dan says, let's remember how many people Rick and the group killed at the satellite station. Yeah, that's true, Dan. A lot of people forget that, but I mean, it's just one of those things. We were attached to Glenn and Abraham, especially Glenn. Abraham, like, I mean, it made sense, but like, you know what I mean? Like, Abraham had to die because Rick's group killed that many saviors, but Glenn did not have to. You know what I mean? Glenn was killed just for shock value and just because of Daryl punching Negan. So, you know what I mean? It was a completely different reason, even though people put it as the same reason as Abraham got killed. But yeah, I don't even know how many saviors. I think it was like 20 to 30. But yeah, I mean, it was just crazy. Like Negan confronted Rick's group when they've killed like almost 60 saviors, and then season 7 they killed like, I don't know, like 20 more, and then season 8 they killed like 300 or something. It was crazy. I mean, just way too many saviors. The show, I mean, to be fair, Not Tomorrow Yet is one of my favorite episodes of The Walking Dead ever, but it still has some problems with it. The saviors looked like, I mean, like I'm sorry, I'm saying like too many times. I think that they should have had the saviors be a little bit more of a challenge in the satellite station, and they should not have made the saviors look like chumps. Let's see. Eastside Badger says, agree, Dan. And Dan says they started the conflict, as Alpha would say. LOL. I'm guessing you're talking about the. I'm guessing you're talking about the Whisper War, or I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say who is at fault for the Whispers. You know what I mean? Because Eugene got stuck in their territory, and they had to get him back, and then Paul died. So I guess you can say that the Whisperers drew first blood, but I don't know, they accidentally came to the Whisperers territory. But I will say that at the moment for season 10, the Whisperers definitely are starting the conflict again. Eastside Badger says Beta has to be the strongest villain by far. He's a beast. Yeah, I agree, Eastside Badger. But I mean, he still couldn't really beat Daryl, unfortunately. And I'm not saying like I wanted Daryl to lose. I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, Daryl just, he still like he gave Beta not just a run for his money. Like, he won that fight, and he didn't even have like a black eye or anything. And I'm just like, okay, that's a bit much. You know what I mean? I mean, would Daryl having a black eye make all the fangirls leave the show or something? I don't know. It's just, I'm just saying, like, it would have made the fight more realistic. It seemed like Daryl was just as strong as Beta in a few of those fight moments, and like when Beta had Daryl's, neck next to the saw, like, you know, I couldn't see how Daryl got out of that. That was just weird, a little forced. Epic says, also, I don't like how messy and sloppy AMC handled the people in the caves, like they spoiled all those who lived pretty much. Yeah, that's a bit of an issue, Epic, but I will say this. Well, okay, so unfortunately the spoilers for episode 9 are out, so be careful, guys. But I will say that I talked with Eastside Badger about this, and I can't, like, I don't know what Angela King did, but the fact that the episode only gets leaked like just 2 weeks before, it actually comes out, that's actually an accomplishment. Like, let's be honest. I mean, Scott Gimple let the Glenn and Abraham deaths slip like 2 months, at least 2 months before it actually aired. I mean, that was unforgivable. I mean, come on. Like, they even promised us that we would never guess who died because they would film different scenes, and they would, I don't know, it's just, I mean, they could have just had Glenn and Abraham on set. You know what I mean? They could have just paid them to be on set. You know what I mean? And film fake scenes to trick people. But I don't know why they didn't do that. It was just, I mean, that's like the biggest moment in the show, and they just let it spoil so soon. You know what I mean? Just like a couple months, like a couple months after the season 6 finale, and it already gets leaked. It just that was bad. Let's see. Eastside Badger says Negan was Ricky's alpha, so he was entitled to everything Rick was in charge of. You're a big Negan fan, Eastside Badger. I'm starting to get that. Um, I mean, I get that, but he was still just so cocky. I mean, Negan he didn't have a gun. At least I don't know. It was just weird. Like Negan put a gun in his like he took Carl's gun in the season 6 finale, and he never uses that. I never understood that. Like, why didn't they have Negan use a gun in the show if they show him taking one? I don't know. It's just weird. Plus, like Negan is like not that much taller than Rick, and he's super skinny, so he's not that intimidating. I guess I just found it annoying, and also like Negan could have like Lucille'd some characters after Glenn and Abraham, and he never did it. And I just lost the fear in him. Like I wasn't afraid of Negan after the season 7 premiere. I just wasn't afraid of Negan. I mean, I was afraid of him right after that, but it started to go away because he just kept threatening characters or doing this and that. I don't know. It was just weird. Let's see. Dan says, "Yeah, it's like keep us guessing. It's more fun that way." Oh yeah, yeah, that's right, Dan. I remember. So they let it. Okay, so they released the pictures with Jerry and Ezekiel fighting at the hilltop, and they tried to crop it because they didn't want people to know. But people know Jerry survives the cave. We know that Ezekiel, Yumiko, and Eugene survived the Whisperer War. We know that Daryl, Aaron, and Carol survived the cave, and the thing is, we still don't know if Connie or Magna survive it, but we know Kelly does. But why did they show us Kelly? Like, that's what I don't get. In the teaser, in all the promos, we see that Kelly is fighting outside the hilltop in the promo, and I never understood why they show us Kelly. It's just weird. I mean, like, I don't think Kelly has a single fan. You know what I mean? Let's see. Eastside Badger says, I want to see Magna become a meal, never to be out. Um, wow. Yeah. I mean, I don't like her either, Eastside Badger. But wow. I mean, like, do you hate her? I mean, I just don't like her character. Like, I just think they got the wrong actress. But yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. Let's see. And you say I also wouldn't mind Yumiko to suffer the same fate. Add Kelly to the menu. Yumiko she's all right, better than Magna, better than Kelly, but it's still not very interesting. And you say Negan wasn't cocky, he was confident. LOL. See, I'm not sure, Eastside Badger. That's kind of where I disagree on. He he never like looked after his men. He never kept them in line, and or he rarely kept them in line. And Negan took things that he never needed, never used, and like he kept Daryl, like he kept taking Rick's people prisoner and just never took them seriously, never thought Daryl would escape. Like he didn't really try to make sure Daryl would never escape. I mean, like sure, Dwight was maybe in charge of him, but just like one guy, I don't know, it was just weird. And Negan, I think he was cocky because he thought he could, you know, break Rick's group again, but he should have known that when Rick's group have their guns again, that they're not gonna, they're gonna go out fighting. And plus, I don't know, Negan said they're going to war, and then he got cocky again in season 8. You know what I mean? Like with the weapons thing, like he wanted to use the weapons to infect them, and then Simon did that for him, and then he got mad at Simon. Like I just don't understand what they were doing with Negan in season 7 and 8. Let's see. Dan says Negan used a gun in 701 to save Rick, though, but he didn't use them he didn't use them often. Yeah, I remember that, Dan. He killed some walkers with the assault rifle, but I guess I was talking about the pistol that had the Lucille carving on it, because Carl took that gun and then Simon took it and then Negan took it back. So I don't know. I just thought like they were gonna give Negan his own custom gun. Epic says, also one thing that made me hate Kenny is even if you side with him through the whole game, even when Lee is bit, Kenny treats him so badly, like yelling and saying, we'll get Clementine back without you. I don't really remember that, Epic. I don't remember getting that. Oh, right. I remember that in the attic. Yeah, that was so weird. Like, I don't know what it is, but like, why do people in The Walking Dead think when a character is bitten, like they're so much more dangerous now? Because I'm sorry, that's stupid. Like when he killed Larry, like sure, Larry would be a big threatening walker, but they can have two people like they would, you know what I mean? Like it takes a while for a walker to wake up and then get up and then start attacking you. You know what I mean? Like so if Lee like when Lee was bit in the attic and Lee said no, Kenny said we're trapped here, it's like Kenny Lee is still very much alive. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it's like you probably would die of thirst before Lee died from his bite. You know what I mean? That was just weird. Kenny definitely like had an issue with characters coming back or turning into a zombie. Like they're gonna kill me now, and I'm not gonna be able to defend myself. But it's like, no, you can. You know what I mean? Like if Lee starts getting sick, then you know it's starting to happen. Like you know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it's like he's being paranoid, and you say, and like, no, Clem is Lee's girl. Go away, Kenny. Only he can save her. Yeah, that's part of the reason. Like that's why like when I played as Lee, like I killed a stranger just with my bare hand, and I said bare hand because Lee only had one arm, and I don't know, there's just something about that that's just so much more like awesome, and you know what I mean, like crazy. Like Lee went that far to protect Clementine, and yeah. I mean, I missed the game so much, but yeah, that was a good part. But Kenny, yeah, he's not the best character. I mean, he's one of the I guess best from the list. Like he's better than Ben, but he's still like not. I mean, he's maybe top five, but just barely. Eastside Badger says, "You're right, Dan. I talked to the walker who got slammed to the RV by Rick in 701. He said that scene was fun. He'd be killed by Grimes 7 times in his walker career. That's funny, Eastside Badger. And I'm surprised. How do you know? How do you know someone who's an extra? I remember I've always wanted to be an extra zombie in The Walking Dead, but just I never had the time, and I could never go to Sonoya. I just don't have the right schedule. But I will say, like, I would love to be a zombie or like a background character in The Walking Dead. But unfortunately, like my schedule doesn't really work out for that. But yeah, I mean, like, have you ever been a walker, Eastside Badger? Like, I would like to know. Let's see. Epic says, yeah, exactly. The Sanctuary had terrible defense. Like, seriously, no one was guarding Daryl. He escaped 3 times. Not just that, Epic, but you remember, I mean, Joey, or I guess Fat Joey, was in charge of, like, I guess the outside part. And, you know what I mean? It's just like the fact that, like, I'm sorry, Negan was cocky. He did not, he underestimated Rick's group. Remember, this is the same group that killed like 50, 60 saviors just by the time of season 6. So Negan, he should not have underestimated them. It makes sense in the comics because in the comics, Rick's group only kills like 7 saviors. You know, so Negan could just say like, "Oh, it was only 7." But in the show, it was like 50 to 60. Like Negan should have been furious. You know what I mean? But he just played it off as, "Oh, you killed some of my men." Like, what do you mean some of his your men? They took out an army. You know what I mean? I hated how in the show, like, Negan never ran out of saviors. That was so bad. And plus, I can't believe Fat Joey was in charge of the door area where, you know, Daryl, you know what I mean, got out. Like, I mean, like, there are hundreds, there are like 1,000 saviors in the Sanctuary, according to the wiki. And not one other savior was there? Like, come on, that's unbelievable. And Isabel says he also was the walker Rick saw as he was driving away after the lineup in 701. Oh yeah, I mean I don't like that scene. It's sad, and also it doesn't really make much sense because wait, let's see. Dan says that's awesome. That scene was iconic. I don't know, Dan. Like the part where the walker just goes to the like Glenn and Abraham's blood and I guess brain, um, like on the ground, like it doesn't make sense because Rick's driving away, and I thought walkers were attracted to sound. You know what I mean? Like the walkers should be chasing Rick. You know what I mean? It just doesn't really make much sense to me in that regard. And I don't know. It was just the walker wouldn't get anything from there. You know what I mean? So it was just a little weird. Epic says, I say Negan in the comics was way better. Negan sucked in 7 and 8. He was so badly written. Yeah, he was Epic, but he's I would say season 9 and 10 Negan have been written better than the comics up to this point, but they definitely need to give Negan his shine. He definitely needs to start, like being more awesome in the show like he was in the comic. He's got to get those scenes with Alpha. We got to see it. Uh, let's see. At Eastside Badge says, I knew someone who had a very large Walking Dead account page, and many fans could take part in a Q&A. I followed him on Twitter after that, and he was very interactive. Well, that's good, Eastside Badger. I'm glad that, like people like that can be interactive, and yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Like I've always wanted to be a walker or something, but I don't know. I don't know. I never had the chance to. I mean, I never had the right time, but also like I think you have to go to Atlanta itself, and I cannot drive to Atlanta. Let's see. And you say same with Pollyann, Olivia actress, Raby Davy, and several savers and walkers. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know they're really nice, and like the actors in real life. I'm sure the actors are real life, but like obviously some of the characters they portray are not good people. So yeah, let's see. I'm trying to think of a topic. Let's see. Was there ever? Let me think. Was there ever a character that they cut from the show that you guys think was a big mistake? Like the show has. I think the show has only cut certain characters. You know what I mean, from the comic to the show, but some of them were kind of important. So what would you guys say they never should have cut from the show? Sorry. Let's see. Eastside Badger says Walker gets 100 to 200 bucks a day. That's crazy, Eastside Badger. That's more than what I make. um, I mean that's a really good pay. Like, do you know what background extras get? Cause I can't stand it. I look on the wiki and it never ends with the background extras. Like Alexandria has like 200 extras, even though it only should have like 20 people. Like, okay, so right now in Alexandria, like, I don't know how big Alexandria is now, but Alexandria used to have like 50, right? So I don't know. Let's see. Epic says, also, I wonder why they didn't have Eugene get with Rosita like in the comics. I think most likely Epic, it was because Scott Gimple decided to write Eugene as a kind of traitor in season 7 and 8. They decided to make him a savior, and he probably thought that the fans would not support a relationship between him and Rosita because of that. And partially I agree, but then again it's like, well, maybe he shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? Like he didn't really need to do the whole Eugene savior arc or like being a savior. That was just, I don't know. I feel like that was unnecessary. And Eastside Badger says lots of waiting around and it's hot. Yeah, I mean I can imagine Eastside Badger. I have a feeling it's like that. But where do they do it? Do they do it in Atlanta or is it actually Sonoya you go to? Let's see. Dan says definitely Carl. Um, yeah, I mean, but yeah, you're right, Dan. It's just that I was talking more about characters they completely cut from the show, or I mean that works too. Like, you know what I mean? Because Carl is definitely a character that's no longer in the show. But I guess like character, like who's a character that you've always wanted to see in the show? You know what I mean? Like, but they never did introduce them. Let's see. Epic says, yeah, killing Carl was a huge mistake. Absolutely epic. I mean, we've talked about it on these streams so many times. I don't know. I just don't know how The Walking Dead can end with just Judith. I mean, I really doubt she remembers Rick. She was only like 3 when he disappeared, and she's 10 now. So I don't know. Eastside Badger says walkers have to go. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Stupid pop-up ad. I hate these things. Walkers have to go to a zombie school run by Nicotero, and after that, if you do a good job, you get a repeated call backups. Yeah, I heard something like that, Eastside Badger, and I've wanted to apply. I mean, that sounds awesome, but I used to watch those videos in practice, but I don't know. I've always wondered like, do you have to like wear contacts and stuff? Because I kind of am not really a contact person. Let's see. Epic says like seriously, they need to stop killing season one characters. It just hurts the show when the originals die. Yeah, not only that, Epic, but like Fear the Walking Dead needs to stop that too. I mean, like so like they killed characters in season 2, 3, and then 4, and sure they didn't kill off any season 1 characters in season 5 of Fear, but they almost did, and like they didn't kill off pretty much anyone in Fear season 5. Like so I think the issue is you if you want the show to go on for a long time, you can't kill off season 1 characters too often. But The Walking Dead main show, they were doing it too often, especially in season 7 to 8. Like Glenn, they killed off Glenn, then they killed off Morales, but he doesn't entirely count, and then they kill off Carl. Like that was 3 season 1 characters in just 2 seasons. Like that was a big mistake. Eastside Badger says, guys, I will be back in a little while. Bathroom break. No worries, Eastside Badger. Let's see. Hey, King Ken 214. He says hello. Hello, King Ken. It's nice to see you again. How are you doing? I appreciate you stopping by. If you want to ask anything about the live stream, just let's see. King Ken says, "Don't you say the word fear ever." I'm guessing you really hate the show. Let's see. Dan says it's a bad word. LOL. I guess I can say the second Walking Dead show. Would that be better? Let's see. Epic says like Glenn, Carl, those two hurt the show bad. Yeah, I agree, Epic. I mean, Glenn, I think they could have definitely given more story, and it would have been a nice change from the comic. And Carl was, especially with Kurtman wrapping up the comics, we definitely needed Carl as a character. And plus, he was getting his biggest arc ever, the Whisper arc. You know what I mean? Like he's the Romeo in that situation, with the whole Lydia thing, and they decide to kill him off. Like, why would you kill off a character right before their biggest arc ever? You know what I mean? Because after issue 127 in the comics, Carl really started being the main character more, and it would have been nice if Carl was the main character, now in The Walking Dead, but still. By the way, Did you guys notice in the new trailer that we got a lot of shots with Scott? So we see Scott with Father Gabriel and Laura when they're talking to Gamma in the Alexandria Council room, and we see him with Father Gabriel outside at nighttime. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, man, like they really want us to recognize Scott to be like, yes, this like he's becoming a fan favorite now. He is not. He has got to be like the most background character ever in the show. He's got to be one of them. King Ken said Glenn died too soon, but he still should have died later in All Out War. I mean, I think I would have liked that more than what we got, but as far as okay, so yeah, Glenn definitely died too soon. They were really setting him up to be a darker character. I mean, he killed, two saviors in their sleep, and he gunned down a bunch of them with Heath. And I think they were setting him up to be a darker character. I mean, I don't see what else they could have been doing with that. Oh, let's see. Epic says that's Gimple for you. Yeah, I agree, Epic. I don't know. Like Gimple, his writing was very great. Season 4, 5, and then 6, there started to be some holes. Then season 7, just like bad writing, and then season 8, really bad writing. I'm not saying season 7 was worse, but I think it was just because it was more boring. But yeah, I mean it's tough. If I had to pick either Glenn or Carl to survive, I'm not really sure, because if Carl survived, like it would it would follow the comic arc, but if Glenn survived, it can give us something new, and it could have given us something new and refreshing to the show. But yeah, they're definitely like the top, two characters that not only they should not have been killed off, they they had more story. Carl had more story because of the comic, and I mean look what happened with Carol. If they killed off Carol, what I mean, if they killed off Carol back in season 3, season 4, we would not have gotten all this awesome stuff with her. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what they should have done with Glenn and Carl. let's see. Dan says, I don't know. Glenn in season 10 would have been awesome, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree, Dan. I mean, he would have been really awesome. I mean, I don't know, like a leader. Definitely think he would be like leader of the hilltop, but like I don't know if he would. I hope he would have like a beard or something just to change up the character. But I think like I don't know. I think he would definitely be like more of a leader character because Glenn kind of had those characteristics. You know what I mean? Throughout the show, he kind of was a leader in a few situations. So yeah, I mean, it would have been awesome. I agree. King Ken says Gimple is a really good showrunner, but in season 7 and 8 he got lazy. Yeah, I agree, Ken. King Ken, he got lazy in season 7 and 8 because so one of the reasons is he decided to stretch out the Savior arc way too long. Like taking so doing like 26 issues of the comic into 32 episodes, 2 years for us, big mistake. Big mistake. And not only that, but Scott Gimple, like he needs a fan like us to keep him in check, to make sure his writing is not going to hurt the show. You know, I knew killing off Glenn would hurt the show. I knew that killing off Carl would hurt the show, and it did. Rick leaving, it has hurt the show, but I don't think it's hurt it as much as, in a way, like Glenn and Carl's did, because there was no reason for it. Like the actors, it's not like they wanted to leave. So like Glenn, yes, he wanted his comic death, but you definitely could have kept that character longer, and the fans needed him. But as far as Carl, sure he didn't have his like a big of fan base as Glenn. He wasn't like loved in the same way, but people wanted Carl to survive because it was Rick's son, and they thought he was the future, and he still had comic story to go. So yeah, people didn't understand that. Let's see, where am I right now? Dan says he's so bad now, though. I mean, I haven't so besides I'm not going to say the f word here, but besides the second spin-off, season 4 and 5 of the spin-off, the second Walking Dead show, I mean, like yeah, like those season 4 and 5 were really bad. The first halves were pretty good, very slow, and he's got to get rid of the gray filter. I want to see some amazing shots in, I'm not going to say blank The Walking Dead. I'm just gonna say that because I know that King Ken doesn't like the F word being used here, so I will respect that. But yeah, I mean, I want to see some amazing shots, like it, like what happened to the dam. What I mean? We don't get awesome shots anymore in the show. We need that. We just get oil fields and roads, and it's just bad. Epic says, like, that's how bad Gimple's writing was. He kills 3 important characters before the war, and he actually defended Carl's death, saying it needed to happen. Yeah, I completely disagree with that, Epic. I mean, okay, so killing off 3 important characters before the war, yes. Killing off Glenn, Abraham, and Sasha was, I'm sorry, it was idiotic, and I'll tell you why. Like, Glenn, okay, we already discussed why Glenn was a mistake, but I get it. You need only one important character had to die there. So only one important character had to die in the lineup, not two. Killing off so yeah, so that covers the first two. As far as Sasha, Sasha was not a needed death. I did not like Sasha's death at all. And I'll tell you why. Sasha is the sharpshooter of the group. She's the best shot. So she's basically the Andrea in this situation. And you kill her off before the war starts. You know what I mean? That just doesn't make sense to me. And plus, you do the Holly death like sooner. Why? Why do you do it sooner? It just made no sense to me. Like you needed characters like that. Because Gimple killed off 3 important characters before the war, he couldn't kill off any during the war. And it's not including Carl because Carl did not die from the war. He died from just a walker bite. And as far as Carl's death was necessary, it was not necessary at all. And I'm going to explain why Carl's death was not necessary. One, it made no sense. Carl was not a pacifist before he died. Like he wasn't like that in season 7. Then in season 8 they decided to do it. Carl's death was also not necessary or needed to happen because his biggest arc ever was coming up. And another reason why it was not necessary is because when Carl, so Rick did not need to spare Negan because of that. Rick instead, so in the comics, Rick decides that they cannot keep killing anymore, that they need to set an example. Like, what do they do after the war? So that's what they should have established in season 8. they should have had the characters question, what do we do after the war? Do we kill all the saviors? Where do the rest of them go? What do we do? All these things to think about in the future. I would have Rick and other characters think about, you know, what do we do? Like, how do we keep the saviors in check if they do survive? So all these things I would have brought up, and I would have had Rick keep Negan as a prisoner, and have it make sense where he's like, we're keeping Negan as a prisoner to let the saviors know we can. Like, they could at least do it where Rick will say, we'll kill him if they ever try to start anything again with us. You know what I mean? Like, Rick could have said something like that, and that would have made more sense. Like, Negan would be their hostage. Rick could say, Negan is our hostage now. We have him. We have the saviors. We have peace now. You know what I mean? Just something like that. And I don't know, it just made no sense. Dan says it was so unnecessary. What was Gimple thinking about? What was Gimple talking about? LOL. Yeah, I don't know, Dan. Like, I just don't understand it. I mean, any one of us would know. To be fair, yes, Rick keeping Negan alive in the comic is it's definitely weird, but having Carl die just it doesn't fit. You know what I mean? It's not. It doesn't fit like in the puzzle. You know what I mean? Let's see. King Ken says I was kidding. You can say it. Well, I'm glad. Let's see. And you say, but Fear Season 3 was so good, but no new characters from that season lived. Yeah, that's a problem, King Ken. They should have had some characters from Fear Season 3 join Season 4, like Taka or his, friend, like the sidekick guy. And if they couldn't have done that, I I mean, I've said it before. I don't know if you were here for that, but I would have had like Alicia get pregnant from Jake in season 3, and then season 4 in the flashbacks we find that out, and then that gets into the story. You know what I mean? Like years later, the time skip happens, and Alicia is now looking for her child. So in that way, that's a connection to season 3. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like just some kind of connection to season 3, because when you look at season 4, it really does not feel like season 3 was necessary. I don't know what season 3 did because Daniel was not in season 4, and the characters, they just meet up with each other. So I don't know. I don't see how season 3 really set up things for season 4, cuz you know what I mean? Like the villains, who were they again? They were the villains at the end of season 3. I forgot their names. I know that Dan knows their name, but they're the villains who attacked the dam. They killed everyone at the dam, and Nick, he detonated the C4 and exploded the dam. I'm trying to remember their names. They're on the tip of my tongue. Let's see. Yeah, I can't remember their names, but like those villains are not in season 4. You know what I mean? So I just don't get it. Let's see. Not even the communities were in season 4. So like nothing from season 4 carried on into season. Sorry, nothing from season 3 carried on to season 4. Let's see. Dan says, I know, right? These new showrunners just do nothing right. They need to leave the Walking Dead universe altogether. Yeah, I agree, Dan. I mean, seriously, they should really get us to write the show. I mean, like we would do amazing. I just know we would. Like if we put all our heads together, we can do anything. Obviously, not anything bad, but yeah. I mean, I'm not saying like we're perfect, obviously, but I'm just saying that whatever they're gonna do in season 6, I just know I'm gonna dread seeing it. Let's see. Epic says, yeah, like Madison, her death eliminates the possibility of Tobias returning. Is that really the reason you don't like Madison's death? Epic, like just Tobias, he's the new Morales. Yeah. As far as Madison, her death was completely unnecessary. I would have just had her disappear, but like maybe come back. So I just would have had her be separated from Alicia when the stadium when the stadium fell, and I would have that brought in. Let's see. Epic says Proctor John and his group. Yes, thank you, Epic. I don't know. Like, did they all die when when the dam fell? Because they're not in season 4. Like, they don't even get addressed again. And I hated that about Fear the Walking Dead. Fear the Walking Dead constantly introduced characters, villains, good characters, bad characters, good guys, bad guys, and they just disappeared. Like that even happened with the webisodes. Like they said this character was going to be important. Alex, the Asian girl, and she was not important in Fear season 2. That they lied to us. I mean, how do you do that in a story? How do you just lie to the audience just to hype up, the like the webisodes? I hated the webisodes. Epic says No, I have other reasons I hate that death. She was one of my favorites. Yeah, I mean, she wasn't my favorite. Obviously, it's Alicia, but she definitely was up there. But mostly because Fear the Walking Dead has very bad characters. So even a minor character, not a minor character, but even I guess like a simple character like her is okay, or like she gets up there. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, she's better than Tobias. You know what I mean? Like Fear the Walking Dead, if they're not killing off the character just disappears. I mean, they had like 7 characters from season 1. At least the main show had like 15. You know what I mean? Like in the main show, The Walking Dead, they had like 15 characters from season 1 in season 2. And then over time, they slowly started killing them off. And now only Daryl and Carol are left. And yes, you could say like, well, they could still have Glenn and Carl, but I'm just saying like in general that that's one of the problems that Fear the Walking Dead season 1 had. If they wanted to go as long as the main show, they should have had a bigger and better cast. King Ken says the trailers for seasons 4 Fear made it seem like Madison and Morgan were talking to each other, but they never met. Yeah, that was really bad. King Ken, especially they also did that in the poster. When they had the poster for season 4, they have Madison in the front, I think, and Morgan right next to her. And I'll be honest with you, they overhyped it and they lied to us. They said, Morgan was going to join the cast in Fear, but what they did is they just had Morgan join Alicia and a bunch of new characters in season 4. Like he didn't join Daniel in season 4. He didn't join. I mean, he joined Nick, but then Nick died not long after. You know what I mean? And Luciana, we don't even discuss Luciana. I mean, how did she find the group? She left in season 3. You know what I mean? Let's see. Thank you for the comment, King Ken. Let's see. Epic says, like the webisodes for the main show have been hit or miss. Torn Apart was good, Cold Storage was a wave, and The Oath was bad. Yeah, exactly, Epic. That is exactly how I feel. The Torn Apart was good because it provided backstory on the Bicycle Girl Walker, and Cold Storage was a waste of time too. They should have had like a Glenn cameo or something, because all it did was show that Rick and Lori, for some reason, have a storage bin or storage facility or storage room in Atlanta. And it's like, well, why did they have it in Atlanta? You know what I mean? Like they live in Cynthiana, Georgia, or no, King County, Georgia. Sorry. And that's probably a drive. And the oath was so bad. It was incredibly inconsistent. I mean, they didn't even use the same hospital set, and they lie to our faces and say, "Oh, that's the same hospital that Rick woke up in," even though they happened at the same time. You know what I mean? And the hospital looks completely different. It's not as damaged. It just doesn't make any sense. Like I could have made that better. If you wanted to make sense, you go to the same hospital. Don't have it be a different hospital and just say it's the same. Like you can't just lie to the fans like that. It's just yeah, that really bugged me because I honestly when I watched that I thought it was just a different hospital that just did the same that don't open dead inside. I thought okay maybe another hospital's doing that. Maybe there's a couple that do that. But no, they said oh it's the same hospital. I'm like but that's terrible. Like it is not the same hospital. Let's see. We've been going on for about 58 minutes now. I like to. I hope we can hit like 2 hours tonight. Let's see. Epic says also Nick's death in Fear. I hated it. It was so dumb in my opinion. I actually did. I actually liked Nick's death in a way, Epic, just because it was so unexpected. And to be fair, the actor wanted to leave Frank Delane, so they had to write it in and make sense. But what they did with after Nick's death makes no sense at all to the story. Like Charlie just goes back to the vultures and first off, we don't even understand why she did that. Like yes, Nick killed that guy, but they weren't friends, Nick was her friend, you know what I mean? And I think they should have I would not have had Alicia forgive Charlie in like just half a season. Like that is too soon. This is something that should be built up over a long time. Like Daryl still has not even forgiven Dwight, or he didn't forgive Dwight for giving him dog food sandwiches and making him listen to terrible music for like like a day or so. But Alicia forgives a girl who murdered her brother, in half a season. I don't know. It's just forced. It just doesn't seem right to me. I think that they should have had Charlie like be out on the run, constantly avoiding Alicia, kind of thing. But what they did with Alicia in the season 4 mid-season finale, like that was great, where she tried to kill June, but Morgan was stopping her. See, that's good. Like Morgan trying to convince Alicia not to just kill someone in cold blood just because an accident happened, that is fine. But when Morgan is trying to stop someone who is trying to kill you from killing another person, it's like, okay, that's just bad writing. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be a limit. Let's see. Anything else? Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? The teaser. Maybe there's something else about the teaser we can go over. Let's see. Epic says, yeah, it annoys me. The dead don't open dead inside doors are very iconic. That's one of the most iconic praise. Iconic praises in the show, and the oath just trashes it. Yeah, it completely trashes it, Epic, because they don't even use the same hospital, and like I mean, the doors, they look different. Plus, they got the timelines wrong. Like, the doctor said that the military was here months ago, but Rick wakes up like not even 2 months in the apocalypse yet. It's day 59. So I just don't understand how they can get the times wrong. And Scott Gimple, that was like his first webisode he did, I'm pretty sure, or at least the first one he was showrunner for, and it was terrible. Like, they stopped doing the webisodes after that, at least for the main show, but they did them in Fear, and Fear's webisodes are terrible. I mean, doing like the flight 462, I think that's it. Like, they were too short. Doing a webisode for each episode is a big mistake. It's stupid, and I'll tell you why. You give only like 1 minute of story. You know what I mean? That's so bad. People don't understand what's happening, and not a lot of people watch the webisodes. Like, the webisodes should just be something they have, like in the show, or like have it make sense, like on a channel or something. Not people won't watch it there. You know what I mean? Let's see. Dan says, love how they reused the doors in season 9, episode 5. Um, Wait, season 9, episode 5. Oh yeah, yeah, I love that too, Dan. Yeah, see what I mean? That is how you do it. Like, even if it's CGI, whatever, I don't care. If the doors do not look the same, you failed as a writer. If you are trying to say this is the same location, but they don't look at all the same, that's a fail. And yeah, I think they instead of don't open dead inside, it was what was it? Open, dead, and no, I can't remember. Was the don't crossed out? I'm trying to remember. Sorry, Dan, I forgot. Can you remind me? It's been a while since I've seen that part with Rick. Let's see. Epic says, "Hey Brian, do you like Jaws?" Not really, Epic. I don't know what it is, but like, I'm sure Ronnie Hayes likes Jaws, but things that he likes, like old classic movies, like horror movies, or you know what I mean, movies like that, I just don't like. But I have seen some old movies in the past. Yeah, I don't like Jaws at all, Epic. Just I don't know, the whole shark thing is just not interesting to me. And you say also one thing that always drives me crazy is the well walker in season 2, like how to get down there. Yeah, I don't know, Epic. That's weird. I never understood that either. And also something I realized, like did no one drink any water from that well, like until then? Like, were they giving it to cows and stuff? Because I just thought about it, and if T Dog drank that water, he probably would have gotten sick. Like, maybe, okay, he either would have been sick like Rosita, or he would have been like dead sick like Tobin was. So I don't know. I'm curious about that. I don't know how it got there, Epic. I'd like to know that. Let's see. Dan says Angela made the doors better, and to think it wasn't even real. LOL. Yeah, I mean, Angela Kang definitely did it a lot better than Scott Gimple as far as the webisode. But I mean, like, I don't know if Gimple was in charge of that, but he was the showrunner. Like, I'm sorry, if I was the showrunner, I would have said, like, no, that episode is trash. Like, the doors don't look the same, and even the hallway doesn't look the same. You know what I mean? Everything was so off. They used a completely different hospital. I mean, it's just bad. That's very cheap. Let's see. King Ken says, I don't like. What don't you like, King Ken? Are you talking about Jaws or something? Let's see. Epic says, by the way, what are your guys' favorite zombie movie? I really like the 2004 Dawn of the Dead remake. I don't know what it is, but the characters there are very interesting, and there's also a dog there. His name is Chips. Do you guys remember that? The dog from 2004 Dawn of the Dead. The dog's name was Chips, and he survived, or at least he probably did. But I mean, the ending is a little confusing, but he probably survived. The characters at the end probably survived. It's just I don't know. I wish they did a sequel, but they never did. And Dan says Day of the Dead is a great one. Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that, Dan, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Day of the Dead. It's pretty much just Walking Dead for me, but I did like the 2004 Dawn of the Dead remake. Like, if it's not Walking Dead, you can't find too many zombie stories that are done well. And King Ken says, I don't like Jaws. Yeah, I had a feeling you were saying that. Yeah, I don't like Jaws either. Just I don't know, like the whole giant shark thing just doesn't get me. If I've sorry, it's always also bothered me how like in real life, if there was an animal like that, a giant shark, like they would just call the Coast Guard in, and just shoot it. You know what I mean? Like, and it would be over. Like the movie would be done in 5 minutes. I just don't get why they have like fishermen. You know what I mean? Going to catch it when something like that should be like like a state security issue or something. Let's see. And you say Shaun of the Dead is cool too. Shaun, and you say Shaun of the Diaz. Oh, okay. Message retracted. Yeah, I'm guessing you were trying to say Shaun of the Dead. Like, yeah, yeah, dead. Yeah, you said Shaun of the Dead, but yeah. I mean, yeah, you're saying that now. Yeah, I don't know. Shaun of the Dead is just not. I don't know. I've never watched it, but I heard it's funny. I'm just not a big fan of. I guess it can't be too comedic if it's a zombie apocalypse. Like, it kind of takes me out of the experience. Epic says, seriously, season 1 just has so many iconic spreads from the highway to the hospital doors that says don't open dead inside. Yeah, exactly, Epic. That's what Fear the Walking Dead needs. Fear the Walking Dead or World Beyond, they need those amazing iconic shots. They need to like break down the story as if it's a comic book and be like, okay, how can we do iconic shots? You know what I mean? There should be like lots of iconic shots in Fear, and like there was a part where Nick was just walking by himself in season 2 and it's an abandoned highway and there's no one in sight. Like that's a good shot. You know what I mean? Like we need more iconic moments like that. And Dan says Epic Season 1 is just too perfect. It's really good, Dan, but there are some faults I have with Season 1. I mean, like just their minimal faults. Like I never understood it, but like okay, so like obviously you guys know I'm not a fan of Rick's Cold Python. It just it takes me out of the experience sort of just because like in real life, like cops in King County or you know what I mean, like deputy sheriffs in Georgia, they don't have those type of guns. You know what I mean? The standard like they're required to have like Glock 19s or something. So the fact that Rick has that gun like separate from everyone else, I get it. He's the main character, but they don't know that. It just takes me out of the experience. And okay, so like season 1 was really good. It was very great, but I'm not a big fan of the CDC episode just because I don't know. It's just I think it could have been better. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying it was boring. It was just kind of it stood out, like kind of weird. Let's see. Epic says like the highway spread of Rick on the horse, one of the most iconic spreads in the whole series, a whole franchise. Yeah, I agree, Epic. I mean, that's what we need in Fear the Walking Dead. We need a moment like that, but we never get that, unfortunately. And I'm sorry, just and you say, unfortunately, Fear doesn't have an iconic spread like that. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what it is, but they should honestly just when they write Fear, they should maybe write it like a comic. Write a script, but also have the visuals and say, okay, we need something iconic for the viewers, an amazing shot. And no, I'm not talking about Alicia painting a tree or showering. I'm saying like a moment where it's like someone can say, "Hey, that looks like it could be in a comic book." You know what I mean? Dan says fear doesn't deserve one. LOL. Um, yeah, I mean, I understand that, Dan. Fear does has not earned the reputation of The Walking Dead. You know what I mean? Like The Walking Dead in its title, it doesn't deserve it, but it just stinks. Like I wish they could just take Alicia out of Fear and just end the show. Like Alicia is like she's like it feels okay. Maybe Nick too, but Alicia is I would say the only character in Fear the Walking Dead that actually feels like a Walking Dead character. You know what I'm saying? She's not cartoony. She's not like boring. Like she feels very realistic, and she actually has good character development. And I mean, John is okay, but I don't know. They haven't done much with him. He's definitely one of my favorites, but they definitely need to do more with him. And actually, you know what? I don't. You guys probably don't watch like Lego Walking Dead YouTubers, but there's this guy, Official Bricks, and his name is this other guy. His name is Aaron Nino, and if you guys haven't seen them, I highly recommend them. I highly recommend that you watch their videos because there's a character in Aaron Nino's Walking Dead Lego Walking Dead story, and he's very similar to John from Fear the Walking Dead. So yeah, let's see. Epic says I feel they only gave Rick a Colt because they wanted him to feel like a cowboy sheriff. Yeah, uh, probably Epic, but the thing is, it just takes me out of the experience. Like Shane wears the same outfit as him. You know what I mean? Not in season one, in the first episode, but I'm just saying like they could have given Rick something else than a Colt Python because I don't think they're allowed to use those type of you know revolvers. I feel like they could have given him something else, or I don't know, like just a I don't know, like maybe a Glock 19 would have been fine. Like Rick, I don't think Rick needed an iconic weapon. You know what I mean? I mean it works, but it's just impractical. Like, do you guys remember all the times Rick shot his Colt Python and he ran out of ammo and then he was in trouble? I'm just saying if he had a different weapon like a Glock 19, he wouldn't have had those issues. I guess I'm being more practical and realistic than iconic. Eastside Badger says The Walking Dead gets away with stuff, Fear doesn't. Geez, The Walking Dead was more talking. Anything else in 10A? I mean, I mean, okay, so Eastside Badger. So the thing is, at least The Walking Dead. So The Walking Dead does not. At least they don't make every character a pacifist. And Fear the Walking Dead has done that for like 2 seasons now. And as far as The Walking Dead can get away with stuff, to be fair, Fear the Walking Dead. Do you remember when Fear said the F words a couple times? But The Walking Dead couldn't do that because it was the main show, which is kind of weird. So I would say it's a bit mixed. Dan says Alicia would be so good in The Walking Dead. I love her. Yeah, she definitely would be better than Magna. I mean that's something that I mean sure Magna's a comic character, but man, I would definitely switch Magna or I would definitely switch Magna for Alicia. You know what I mean? Like absolutely, no question. I love Alicia too. She is definitely in the top favorite characters in all Walking Dead properties for me. And she's my favorite in Fear. And it's crazy. People did not think like I think Trev's Chan did not think she would survive this long, but I mean she did. Alicia is the last member of the Clark family and just it's crazy. Dan says Eastside. He says Eastside. Yeah, that's my big problem with season 10A. It just got boring after a while, but hopefully that'll change in season 10B. Yeah, I hear that, Dan. I absolutely agree. I I think it will. I mean, we're not gonna have a bottle episode in episode 10. Doesn't sound like it. And I mean, we're gonna get introduced to the Commonwealth finally, and we're gonna get some awesome parts of the Whisper War. We're gonna get at least two attacks, one attack on Alexandria and one at the hilltop. And I think we gotta see those iconic moments with Negan and Alpha. We gotta get those moments where Negan does two things, I guess, with the Whisperers, or that should come up at some point. But yeah, I don't know if they're gonna do that in the show though. Epic says, I will say I like the Colt, but Judith shooting it feels ridiculous in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely Epic. I mean, we've talked about this before, but like I said, it's unrealistic and it's so dumb. Some people say like, "Oh, Judith is just she's a tough kid." Have you seen her arms? She is a 10-year-old girl. That doesn't change if she's a tough kid. Like, um, I was about to say something about the Walking Dead video game, but okay, like when Clementine shoots the pistol in season 1, like after she shoots a gun, you know what she says? She's 9 years old and she says, "My hands hurt." After shooting a gun. That's how it is. You know what I mean? You cannot just make a child a superhero. You can't do that. They are a child first. You got to write it that way. So yeah, I agree, Epic. Judith using a cold python. Actually, she hasn't used it in a while, and I like that. I think Judith should just stick with the katana. I do not like Judith using a cold python. That should just be. It feels like a relic at this point. Dan says, yeah, it's like, come on, be more realistic, Angela. Her killing Whisperers on her own is already a little far. Well, she hasn't killed any Whisperers yet. I don't know. Like, I think. Oh, hold on, we got someone new. I think that I don't know if Judith is going to kill a Whisperer or anyone this season, but I could see it happening. Do you guys see Judith killing a Whisperer to protect RJ this season? Eastside Badger says Alicia would do very well in The Walking Dead. IMO, she could replace Carol easily. Um, I mean, it's possible, Eastside Badger. I don't know if people like that. Hey, Renee, he says hello. And Eastside Badger says hi, Renee. And Dan says, hey. Hey, Renee, I'm glad you came. I don't recall ever seeing you on my live streams before, but yeah, I'm really glad you came. So if you have any questions or comments, anything you want to ask me or my thoughts on anything, just ask me. Don't be shy. Just remember, please, no spoilers, and yeah, we also no cursing on this stream, and we try to be as appropriate as we can. But I'm sure I didn't need to tell you that. I just wanted to put it out there. And let's see. Epic says also one thing I never noticed in the season 2 poster is similar to the highway poster. Only difference is Rick isn't on the horse, and you see Herschel's house in the background. Um, Wait, let's see. Similar to the highway poster. The only difference is on the. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. That's yeah. You're talking about the poster. Yeah, that was a good poster. I don't have that poster. Renee says hi. Eastside Dan. Let's see. Eastside Badger says, is it me or does Negan seem to go a little darker? Oh, go a little dark in 10B. Yeah, I don't know, Eastside Badger. We don't. I hope that Negan is gonna take down the Whisperers, but we gotta see what happens. And by the way, Trev Chan made a video, and apparently the season 9 premiere is going to have sexual content. Sorry, not season 9 premiere. The episode 9 of season 10, the mid-season premiere. Apparently, there's going to be something happening in episode 9 when it comes back in 2 weeks, or The Walking Dead season 10. So I don't know what's happening. Something is going on in that episode, and I don't know. Like something, Negan has to be involved in it somehow. So yeah, sorry I made that mistake saying it was season 9, episode 9 of season 10. Dan says, heck yeah, I'm hyped to see that side of him. Yeah, kind of, Dan. Me too, but it's just got to be done right. Uh, Renee says, hey, Brian. Yeah, hey, Renee. I'm so glad you came. I'm hoping we can get to 2 hours, and yeah, I'm really glad you came, and I appreciate you coming by. Eastside Badger says, to be honest, in the apocalypse, there is no limit. There is no time to be a kid anymore. Have to grow up quick. Yeah, I understand that, Eastside Badger, but Judith using a cold python is just asking for too much. Judith having a childhood's one thing, or or can't have a childhood. That's one thing, but she cannot shoot a cold python. You know what I mean? Like that should knock her down. You know what I mean? It's just too big of a gun. Like, I mean, that's a gun, a grown. You know what I mean? Like, she might as well use an assault rifle at this point. It's a little much. Epic says also one thing I don't like about John is how they are trying to make him resemble Rick. Yeah, kind of, Epic. They probably think that, John is a character that will have fans, and he does. John does have some fans, but I think it's just because people kind of see him a little bit like Rick. Like if Rick kept the cowboy look from the previous seasons, and if he didn't kill as many people as often as he did in the show, like I think that's who John would be. Renee says, "Yep, first time, cool. I respect that." Yeah, I'm glad you came, Renee. I'm hoping to see you, for the next live streams we do. Eastside Badger says, "Agree, Dan. I want to see Negan be crazy Negan." Well, I mean, kind of Eastside Badger. Just I don't want them to like. I don't want them to go like take him, make him like Morgan when he's on clear mode. That's a little bit much. Dan says, yeah, especially now that he's a whisperer. Yeah, he's got the mask and everything. I hope that's not Gamma's mask, because I don't know. I hope Negan gets his own. Because if it's Gamma's, then she's already dead. But Gamma's at Alexandria. I told you guys earlier in the stream. Gamma is probably going to be imprisoned in Alexandria by the survivors. So we'll see what happens. Epic says, like, I love John, but he can't replace Rick ever. Yeah, it makes sense. Rick is not a character. He's not a cowboy guy. Like in the first two seasons, he was, but that's not who Rick is. Rick is a family man who he has his iconic moments from the comic, and he does whatever has to do to survive. He's the leader. He goes crazy at times, but John has never done that. Eastside Badger says, agreed, Epic. Let's see. Dan says, Rick Grimes, in my opinion, will always be the best character on TV. Daryl and Negan are so close, though. I mean, yeah. I mean, I know they're your favorites, Dan. Personally, like Negan is. I wouldn't say Negan is the best character on TV. He's definitely not one of my favorites. As far as in the show, he's definitely one of my favorites now, just because we have so few characters left. But yeah, let's see. Eastside Badger says, no, wait, where am I? Oh, Dan said that. Issa Badge says I have to agree as well, Dan. I mean, I do like. I have really enjoyed Rick on the show, but he has went crazy like a lot of moments and made really bad decisions a lot of the times. And as far as Daryl, same. And I just don't know what it is, but I just Daryl has to change his look. I'm sorry, Daryl is not one of the best characters in TV history. Like, cause he just never changes his look. I'm sorry, he's got to change. Like haircut, shower, just please, Daryl. And Negan, like season 6 and 9 and 10 Negan are great, but like I said, season 7 and 8 Negan were just really bad, so that kind of hurts my view of him. And plus, he murdered Glenn, so I'm never gonna forgive him for that. And let's see, where am I now? Epic says, like, I understand why Judith was shooting the Colt because she was trying to honor Rick. Yeah, I mean, in a way, I understand that, Epic, but realistically, it just that doesn't make sense. I think that she should just keep the Colt Python in a box, you know what I mean, in her room or something. But like, I don't know, just shooting the Colt Python is just you don't need to use it to honor Rick. You know what I mean? You don't need to kill walkers to honor your dad, like in a way. You know what I'm saying? Sure, Rick used that Colt Python, but uh, like it only has 6 shots. How do they still have ammo for it? I don't know. It's just one of those things that it bugs me. Plus, like, I don't know. It's just I feel like they don't need to honor Rick just by using the Colt Python. I feel like no one should use it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I feel like no one should use it after Rick, pretty much. Renee says, "Thanks, Brian. Nice, warm welcome here." Yeah, I like to think this is like my live streams. We are honest with each other. You know, we're appropriate, and we like to welcome each other. You know, so yeah, Dan says Daryl is awesome right now. Plus Connie just makes him better. Don't kill her, Angela. Yeah, I hope so too, Dan. I hope that Angela does not kill off Connie. It just doesn't make sense either, because Angela Kang, I don't know. I feel like she likes Connie as a character and the actress. So yeah, and I am a Donnie shipper, but like I mean I understand if it would not work out. And Daryl, I don't know. It's just he's gotta make his move or something when he gets a chance. Actually, he should have done it sooner. Let's see. Eastside Badger says, "I always wanted Michonne to knock Morgan out of the uh, out the way. She did to Rick when Morgan went get clear crazy." Um, Wait, hold on. Let me reread that. I always wanted Michonne to knock Morgan out the way. Oh, okay. So, like season 3, or like when Morgan was in clear mode, season 3, 7, or 8. I'm trying to think of a time she could have done it, but yeah, that would have been interesting. Yeah, someone definitely needed to knock out Morgan when he went clear mode, because Morgan went too far sometimes, a couple times actually. Dan says, Renee, I can tell you're a huge Walking Dead fan, and I just love seeing them. Yeah, I see Renee a lot of times in other Walking Dead channels. Trev Chan, Make a Path presents. So yeah, I've seen I've seen Renee a lot, and yeah, I mean, I'm glad Renee came to my stream. It feels great, you know. It's always great when a new person comes to the streams. Let's see. Eastside Badger says Daryl's biggest enemy: one soap, three. Oh, sorry. Biggest enemy is one soap, two water, three shampoo, and four clean clothes. Absolutely, Eastside Badger, you are right there. I mean, I don't know. Water might be a little. I mean, maybe water might be a little lower, but yeah, I mean, he's got to be terrified of soap. I've never seen like we've seen Daryl with water before. Soap and shampoo and clean clothes, like yeah, those got to be top three. Epic says, I know Negan killed Glenn and Abraham, but what Alpha did in season 9 was way worse. Yeah, I mean, I agree, Epic, but unfortunately, I think Eastside Badger and some other people don't think so, just because they think that the Pike victims were so minor. I will say this: they should not have done 10 victims. They should have done 12. I feel like we should have had those 12 victims. 10 just, I don't know why, but I feel like we could have gotten a couple more deaths. You know, I mean, like Scott. Like, why is Scott like still around? You know what I mean? Like, he's on the council now. Like, how crazy is that? Scott, for Pete's sake. Like Rick's not on the council anymore. Daryl isn't. Michonne isn't. Eugene isn't. Rosita isn't. Like, there's just Gabriel, Laura, and Scott. I mean, come on. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, seriously. I mean, this was Scott was Heath's sidekick. You know what I mean? Like, think about that, guys. And we've barely even had Heath. Uh, that's just crazy to me. Let's see. Yeah, I mean the 10 victims, like that was so bad. I get emotional every time I rewatch the Pike scenes. It is just so sad. Just the music. Angela Kang did that scene amazing. Like, it's not like the Glenn and Abraham's death. Like, I can rewatch the Pike deaths, but I cannot rewatch the Glenn and Abraham thing, just because I still feel like it was just too much. You know what I mean? Like, it just should have been one death, and but the way, like, the Pike deaths are different just because they're not as big characters as Glenn was. And Dan says, "True, Eastside." Yeah, that's funny, Dan. Yeah, those are Daryl's biggest enemies. I think Water would be fourth though. Let's see. Renee says, "I can tell you are too, Dan. Your videos are great." Yeah, Dan makes excellent content. I love his thumbnails. He's great at uploads, and yeah, and like he has great Q&As and stuff. I don't know when, but oh, he's also even doing his own comic. You know, he's doing World Gone Mad, and he doesn't know when. Well, okay, so the first his first issue should be coming out like in spring of this year, hopefully. But yeah, Dan is, yeah, he's very talented with YouTube, with Walking Dead, and even in writing and stuff. Cause I've thought about writing my own stories, but it's just so difficult. Like, I don't think I could ever get it out there. And let's see. Dan says, agreed, Epic. Eastside Badger says, poor Connie. Can you imagine with her heightened smell how bad Daryl smells to her? Yeah, I don't know what it is, Eastside Badger. It's just weird that that's the one thing that, like, the smell should be the one thing that repels Connie from Daryl, but it doesn't seem to be working. I mean, it would work for us, but who knows? Let's see. Dan says, thanks. I love talking about Walking Dead. As you all know, I know Brian can relate to that as well. Yeah, exactly, Dan. I mean, we are honest. We love talking about Walking Dead, and we do talk. We rant a little bit, but to be fair, we talk about how we could have written things better. So that's constructive criticism, and that's always good. Let's see. And Renee says, LOL, we're everywhere, Brian. Yeah. Let's see. Dan says, Trev is awesome. He was the first Walking Dead channel I ever watched. Same, Dan. Like, I don't know when I watched him. It was probably around season 2. It's gotta be. I wasn't really a Walking Dead YouTuber, like, or, you know, a watcher for YouTube channels back then. So yeah, I think yeah, Trev was definitely before Makeup Ronnie Hayes, definitely. And Renee says, same here, Dan. He's a good dude. Yeah, he is. It's just that I don't know. I wish Trev could talk more with, like, what they should have done and how it could have worked better. Like, I okay, so like sometimes like Trev just I guess he goes with the flow kind of on Walking Dead, but like I don't remember if he thinks killing off Carl was a mistake because he thinks The Walking Dead is going on good now, and I think The Walking Dead is good now, but I just think it could have been so much better. Like if they kept certain characters in the story, but I think Trev said he's unsure how it would be, but I know it would be better with certain characters in the story. We all do. Let's see. Epic says, I mean, what Alpha did was worse because Alpha decapitated 10 people versus Negan killing 2 people. Yeah, I mean, that, yeah, I mean, like, it's a little bit different, Epic, though, because Alpha, like, she only killed, like, minor characters, and only a few of them were, like, major. So, yeah, I mean, in the comic, it was just, like, 9 minor characters. We didn't really cry over, I don't know, although I was upset, it was one of them was Olivia, but the big ones were like Rosita and Ezekiel. But in the show, they it was like 3 big deaths. It was Enid, Tara, and Henry. So yeah. But as far as the Negan thing, I don't know what it is. Like I guess that Negan killing the 2 Glenn and Abraham, it was just too brutal. But like the Pike victims, it's not as brutal because we didn't get to see it happen. Like they show us the aftermath. I guess what I'm trying to say. Like even though like the heads were disturbing, like it wasn't as bad as Glenn and Abraham. Let's see. Eastside Badger says, "Sorry, Brian. Pike scene didn't affect me very much. It was too hyped." I definitely think that they could have done it a little bit better, Eastside Badger. I think that they should have had 2 more victims, and I think we could have gotten a few more main characters. Like I think they should have had Ezekiel instead of Henry, and okay, not Rosita. Um, But I don't know, Eastside Badger, who would you have had on the Pike Deaths? So like, I mean, I would have maybe had Rosita, but I know you don't agree with that. But I would rather have Tara be on the Pikes than Rosita, obviously. But Enid, I was shocked. Tara, I did not think they were going to do. And Henry, that's where I kind of drew the line. It was a mistake. So I don't know, Eastside Badger, who would you have be on the Pike Deaths? Because there weren't very many characters. You know what I mean? It's not like they could have had Rick or Maggie die on the Pike deaths because like I know some people thought that might happen, but well, obviously before the season came out, but I don't know. It's just like who could it have been? Because I don't know that the Pike scene is still amazing to me, like almost perfect and very rewatchable. Dan says me and Trev are both Canadian as well. Yeah, I know, Dan. Yeah, I honestly thought you lived in the U.S. before you said you were Canadian. I don't know. Yeah, the Walking Dead has a lot of Canadian fans, more than I thought. Epic says, like it's crazy we haven't seen Daryl clean since season 1. Dang. Did Daryl actually even take a shower? Like we didn't I don't think we ever got confirmation, did we? Cuz we know that he was in his room, but did he even shower? Like I don't think it was established. But yeah, that's crazy Epic. I mean, and very gross. Let's see. Renee says comic 2. That's awesome, Brian. You're really funny. You could do something. Um I mean, like, yeah, Dan is doing his own comic series called World Gone Mad, but it's not Walking Dead. It's like its own universe. But yeah, I mean, I try to be funny, but I'm not really much of a comedian. And as far as I could do something, I've had all these ideas in my head, but never really a long story plan. I mean, yeah, writing a story is just hard. I'm not really a great like like as far as like writing, I struggle with length. You know what I mean? But I'm really good at like touching details. Like you know what I mean? Like I could take like the scripts for like all the Walking Dead seasons and just like do some changes and people would say like these changes you made are actually better. Like they actually make it feel good, but it doesn't take away from the story. You know what I mean? Like it's still mostly the same story, but those few changes you did, it really did improve. You know what I mean? Like I would try to have more minor characters involved beforehand so they don't pop out of nowhere and like characters like Heath, Denise, and Scott, they should have been introduced back in season 5. You know what I mean? Like they should have done that. I don't know why Scott Gimple did not introduce those characters in season 5. Why introduce them in season 6? It just takes me out of the experience. Like Carter showing up. Like do you guys remember Carter in the season 6 premiere? Like where was he when Rick killed Pete? Where was he when they fought? Just it just confuses me. Let's see. And Dan says, I think Trev actually likes season 8, which really surprises me. Yeah, exactly, Dan. I did not like season 8. Pretty much all of us didn't like it. And the fact that Trev liked it, like, I'm sorry, just I disagree with him there. I sometimes think he is too positive with The Walking Dead's writing at times, and that's definitely one of the moments. But if he's positive now about it, like, that's fine. I agree with him. But the thing is, like, it's YouTube. We don't always have to agree with each other about everything. But I don't know, like killing off Carl was a mistake. Like that ruined season 8 for me pretty much. Let's see. Um, Renee says Trev gives high ratings to Fear episodes and just what? Love him though. Um, what do you mean? Trev gives high ratings to Fear episodes and just what? Love him though. Oh yeah, like Fear does not deserve high ratings. If like I'm rating it as far as like Fear, it's okay. You know what I mean? But it's just getting worse. As far as like so Fear does not compare to The Walking Dead anymore. But as far as by itself, like you can still watch it if you're bored, but that's pretty much it. Like like I'll say it, Fear the Walking Dead right now is a horrible show. Was it always a horrible show? No, no, it wasn't. But it's horrible now. Dan says, agreed. I get it, though he's trying to stay positive. Yeah, I kind of get it, Dan, but I don't know. Like you might disappoint the viewers if you constantly be positive and not realistic, and then they see something and they get disappointed. You know what I mean? So yeah, Renee says Negan could took control of all the communities, instilled fear in everyone, had too much control. It was all so helpless. Um, I mean, I kind of like you're talking about season 7. I just think like they drug out this savior thing a little bit too long. Renee, like they should have had season 7 and 8 be one big season, and they should have just concluded Negan as a villain just one season. They should have done that. Epic says, also I wish they kept that silver Hyundai in season 5 because that car is iconic now. Um, wait, silver Hyundai in season 5. Dang it, where is it? Um, it's not the van, right? Which car is it? I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember the car. It was in season 5. Can you remind me what scene it was used in? Let's see. Dan says, but I can't lie. When a Fear episode is bad, I say it, especially in season 5. Yeah, exactly, Epic. Honesty is very important when you review shows like The Walking Dead. And I like, you know, I enjoy your honesty in your reviews. And in my reviews and streams, like, we have to be honest with each other. And I mean, like, we have to be honest with each other. If they're not writing it correctly, then we have to call them out on it and say how it could have been done better. Fear, they were adding too many characters, and it's crazy. The only death in season 5 was Logan and Tom. And remember, Tom died from a selfie death. So, like, that was pathetic. We didn't need Alicia or someone dying, but we needed one of the kids dying, or maybe Luciana, just someone, just get rid of someone in the story. Just because it was really boring, like nothing was happening. Let's see. Renee says, I trade Rosita for Tara to Brian. Wait, are you meaning in the Pike deaths? I rather have it be Tara, but if it was Tara, Rosita, and Ezekiel, like, can you guys imagine that? Like, would that have been way more intense? I don't know. Like, it's hard to say. Like, I'd rather have had Tara die there than Rosita, just because Tara, like, she had to go. Like, she was just that type of character, just had to go. But as far as Rosita, I do like what they're doing with her, but I don't know. I'm worried they're gonna kill her off in the second half, and like they should have given her the Pike deaths maybe. Uh, oh wait, hold on, man. Let's see, we're catching up like crazy now. Hold on, guys. I don't want to miss a single comment. Eastside Badger says Pike Def lineup: Ezekiel, Tara, Enid, Henry, and the same 6 others. Um, I'll agree with you on Ezekiel. As far as Henry, I disagree on Henry. I don't think Henry should have died in the Pike deaths because I think they could have given him Carl's story where he becomes darker. And like imagine Ezekiel dies and Henry blames himself. Imagine him becoming a darker character. He wants to kill the Whisperers now. I think that could have been interesting. You know what I mean? Like plus like when Michonne leave, I don't know. I just think Henry had more potential. Like I think the actor like we could have had at least a couple more years with him. Plus like you would have killed off all like if Ezekiel and Henry have died, you would have killed off all the two important people in Carol's life, like the two main ones. And I know I'm not including Daryl, but her husband and adopted son, and then it's like, okay, that's kind of like that's not a coincidence or nothing. It's just it's kind of forced. You know what I mean? It wouldn't feel real if you know what I mean. Like it would just kind of feel forced if both Henry and Ezekiel died at the Pike Depths. I mean, there's no way Alpha could have known they were important. Let's see. Dan says Eastside. I agree with all of them, but Henry could have had more time in my opinion. Yeah, I agree, Dan. I think that Henry, I don't know, like I feel like the show needs like a young face. Like I'm not talking about Judith. I'm I'm just saying like I don't know, the show just hates teenagers or something. I feel like the show needs some more young cast. Like World Beyond has too many young characters, but it's got like the main four leads, but I think the Walking Dead main show needs like at least like two. I don't know, two would be nice. And yeah, Issa Badge says Yumiko acting so emotional was over the top. She knew the Pike victims for a very short time. Yeah, that's why they should have had. That's why I would have had Kelly and or Luke die at the Pike deaths. They should have had that. When I saw Yumiko's reaction to the Pike deaths, like I thought it was going to be Luke or Kelly or someone, but it never was. And that's one thing also I think was a mistake in season 9 with the Pike deaths. So they shouldn't have had to be Henry and they should have had it be Ezekiel, and they should have had one person, just one person from Magnus Group, and it could have just been Kelly because, like right now, Kelly is so pointless. Like you could literally take Kelly out of the story and nothing would happen. But if Kelly died in the Pike deaths, Yumiko's reaction would make so much more sense. So I'll agree with you there, Eastside Badger. Dan says, I agree. It's like, come on, you pretty much didn't know them. Yeah, I agree, Dan. That was a bit of an issue with the Pike deaths. See, that's what I mean about like The Walking Dead, where like I'm not much of a writer, but I can like think about scenes like that, like rewatch moments and be like, okay, that's a bit of an issue. Like we should fix that. Right into the story where Kelly dies. Let's see. Epic says, yeah, I like Trev, but he is too positive about All Out War in the show. Like my opinion, the war in the show was garbage. Yeah, I agree, Epic. The All Out War, they took the best comic arc, and turned it into like garbage in the show. I mean, All Out War was just Negan was barely in it. Characters were flip flopping with decisions and going off on their own when they didn't have to, and like the gun battles were so badly done. Like there was no recoil, there was no reloading or bullets or casings ejecting from the guns. Like it was really bad, and characters were also firing weird. Like Scott was firing an assault rifle over his head, with his arms stretched like in the air, like you know what I mean. Just it was just bad. Like it was laughable. Dan says, "Yeah, speaking of garbage, Jadis didn't help the season at all. LOL." Yeah, exactly, Dan. Jadis and the garbage people. Like when Simon took out the trash, I was so glad. I'm like, "Yes, thank you, Simon." And he was like people were dying and I'm just like I was happy. I was happy the villain was doing something horrible. You know what I mean? Like I was on the villain side. That's not how you should write the season. You know what I mean? You shouldn't root for the villain that is opposing the main characters. That's just weird. Epic says, no, I'm talking about the Silver Hyundai that Shane found in season 2, episode 1, and it was around till season 4, episode 8. They should have kept it. Yeah, I agree, Epic. But you said it was Silver Hyundai and it's green, and you said that it was in season 5. So I guess I was kind of confused. I think you said like it. They should have had it in season 5, or like it was in season 5, so I guess I was kind of confused. But you said silver and it's green, so I was a little bit confused on that. Um, yeah, but yeah, I agree. Epic, that was iconic for the show. They should have had that. Let's see. Eastside Badger says, better question in the apocalypse: if you got beat down by Negan, wouldn't Rick and the group just leave the area like Oceanside? I mean, okay, so like Oceanside makes sense because like it was just like a school or something before they went to Oceanside. But like as far as Alexandria, like they kind of didn't really have a choice. Alexandria had water, it had electricity, it had homes, so they kind of couldn't abandon it. But I understand that question, Eastside Badger. It's just that like I guess like they wanted to fight for the community. I guess like not everyone wanted to leave. It made sense with the prison because the prison still needed a lot of work and there was only like 10 survivors, but I don't know how many people were in Alexandria in season 7. I counted like almost 40 survivors, but the show the show makes it like 100 or something, and I hate it when the show does that. You know, like the wiki might say like, oh, there were 100 survivors of Alexandria during this time, and I'm calling baloney on that. Like there were not that many people. Like when Negan came and took half the supplies, we did not see 100 people walking around. From Rick's group, we did not. It was like 20 maybe. Let's see. Renee says Negan's power, in addition to who he killed, was so overwhelming as a viewer that hopelessness was so hard to watch. Yeah, I agree, Renee. They should not have had it be a whole season. It's just Negan's power should have just been half a season, maybe 8 to 10 episodes. But let's see, like 8 to 10 episodes. But um, I definitely think that they stretched out the Negan arc too long. And I'll admit, like the hopelessness was an issue. They also should not have done double deaths. Like I hate double deaths in a story. When you kill off a character and then kill off another character the same way, or like at the same time, the fans don't know which character they should be upset about. You know what I mean? It's just weird. It just feels so weird, and in the show, it's just not necessary to do. And you say, "Oh, sorry, I like Tara. I want her back." LOL. Uh, I mean, to be fair, Renee, I was actually liking season 9 Terrell. Terrell. Sorry, Tara. Oh my gosh, Terrell. Why did I say Terrell? I like season 9 Terra a lot. Like okay, so season 6 kind of, but definitely season 7 and 8 Terra I could not stand. Especially season 8 Terra. She was the worst. I wanted her to die. She was boring, and in, I mean she was just making bad decisions and going off on her own. Like it was just too much. And when she died in season 9, I'm like like I was glad the show finally did it. But if you like Tara more than Rosita, I respect your opinion. They were definitely neck and neck. You know what I mean in season 8. But I think that Tara just needed to go more just because she was that last character from the Governor arc, and she was introduced before Rosita, so I think it was her time. And she had a lot of time in the show. Epic says also one thing I don't get is Alpha killed Frankie, aka one of Negan's wives, so it makes sense for Negan to kill her and avenge her. Um, I mean, kind of. Hold on, sorry. Man, this stupid scrolling thing. I can't see your guys' questions. Um, I don't know who asked that question now. Let's see. Oh, okay, it was Epic. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Just man, I hate this scroll button. Let's see, my mouse stinks. Let's see. As far as like Negan killing, oh, Alpha killing Frankie, Negan, I don't think Negan really loved his wives. You know what I mean? They were kind of more slaves, Epic. But as far as the thing is, like Negan probably doesn't even know that Alpha killed Frankie, just because like it's been a long time since he's talked to anyone from his like community, the Sanctuary, or has known anything that happened to them. Like, I don't think Negan knows every single person that died at the Pikes. And I don't know, it would be kind of forced if Negan, like, we did not know Frankie at all. If Frankie was this awesome character, then it would make sense why Negan did it, but we didn't get to know Frankie. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it would make sense, but I mean, it's a decent topic to bring up, but they should have developed Frankie more. Dan says, I know Tara in season 9 was awesome. So many people disagree, and I don't get it, to be honest. She did nothing in season 9. I mean, yeah, like season 9 Tara was enjoyable, but like it was her time. You know what I mean? It was just time for her to go. And it's crazy. Like Paul just died. Like that was crazy. But yeah, Tara needed to go. Dan said, "Oh, you also say Kelly on the Pikes would have been way better. She just doesn't do anything." Yeah, yeah, Dan. Besides Henry, like I said, that is probably the second issue with the Pike deaths, and it's minor. I know it's minor, but like Yumiko's reaction, it would have made so much more sense if Kelly died on the Pike deaths. It would have given like Connie a reason to talk to Daryl more, and I, I mean, I said talk, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. Daryl could be a Daryl could help her get through her grief. You know what I mean? And yeah, Kelly, they should have said like, "Hey, listen, Kelly, her only purpose in the story was to die at the Pikes to, have Magna's group be like, we want to go to war, and then you have Michonne and Daryl who need to convince them like, listen, we're sorry, but we just can't at the moment, which is, it's too many walkers that they have. Like that could have been interesting. That would have been so much better than Magna and Yumiko arguing in a relationship. Like I don't care about that. Like Magna's group and the survivors arguing, you know, to fight or not fight. Like that would have been better. And Eastside Badger says, "Well said, Dan." Renee says, "I love seeing Tara as a concerned leader. They finally gave her a purpose, then took her away." Yeah, I mean that's kind of how they do. I don't know, Renee. That's kind of how they write The Walking Dead. They make the character likable, interesting finally, and then they just kill him off. I mean, look what happened with Noah. They Noah said, "I want a purpose. I want to help keep the walls up if something happens, like if they come down," and then they just killed him off. Which, uh, I mean, you haven't been on my streams, but like if you don't know, like I think Noah's death was a mistake in the story. Like they should not have killed off Noah in season 5. I think they should have kept him longer, especially since Reg, Deanna's husband, died in that season. And like, I mean, who after the walkers took down the walls in Alexandria, like who put him back up? Was it Tobin? You know what I mean? They should have given that to Noah. You know what I mean? Let's see. Epic says no, they should have kept it in season 5. I don't understand why they got rid of it in season 4. Also, I'm a big car lover. Um, okay, so yeah, I mean, I understand Epic. So you love animals and you love cars. Okay. I mean, I'm not really a big car person, but I do love animals. So yeah, let's see. Dan says to Renee, exactly. I love her as leader. She was a funny character at times, and we don't have many characters like that. Well, at least we still have Jerry, Dan. But yeah, like we don't need, and we have Negan. But I think two funny characters is enough in the story. Like we don't need an overwhelming amount. You know what I mean? We don't need like uh yeah, we don't need like 5 or something. Like Luke is kind of funny, Eugene is kind of funny, but they're very serious too at times. So, we don't need like 10 funny characters. We definitely needed to trim down. We needed some deaths in season 9, and I think Angela Kang has done, like I think she killed the right amount of characters in season 9, but I think she could have mixed it up a little. She should have killed off Kelly and maybe Ezekiel too instead of Henry. So that's pretty much the main issues, I would say. Let's see. Epic says also, yeah. Also, I don't get that. Why would they make Tara the leader of the major community only to kill her? Probably a couple of reasons, Epic. So one of the reasons is they probably want us to now think, oh, Tara's safe now. Paul died. He was the leader. Now Tara is the new leader, and she is safe. But obviously that didn't happen. So they probably wanted to trick us with that. But also they probably knew that people wanted Tara dead. Like a lot of people did not like Tara, especially from season 8. So they probably thought if they kill her off, like it would fix it. And she's had a lot of time on the show. I mean, seasons 4 to 9, that's a good run in the show. And plus, she was only supposed to be in like 4 episodes, I think. So, yeah, I mean, I would have loved to be on the show for as long as Tara. Let's see. Eastside Badger says the prison could have been rebuilt easily, kill the walkers, and repair the fences. The prison was massive. Yeah, that's true, Eastside Badger, but there was some problems with it. So the prison, yeah, they could have repaired it and rebuilt it, but okay, so as far as repair the fences, yes and no. The fences were run over by the tank, so I don't think they were fixable. So and plus you had the walkers coming and a lot of fires too. And plus Rick's group probably thought that there were still some of the governor's people, so they had to run. But I understand that. The thing is, Alexandria is just so much better. And yeah, yeah. So you say that they should have ran when they came across Negan, but they ran when the prison was falling, and you say they should have stayed. But if they should have stayed when the prison was falling. Obviously, by that logic, they should have stayed when they came across Negan. Let's see. Renee says Dan Mother Goose. Um, yeah, I do not. Mother Goose. That was weird. Yeah, I don't know why Tara called Rick that. That was weird. Um, I don't know, like maybe something else. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Uh, I don't know. Mother Goose didn't really work, but Tara was pretty good in season 9. Let's see. Dan says the governor even said they could just fix the fences. Yeah, that's true, Dan, but he may have just been. The governor was not really thinking in that situation. The fences were kind of run over by the tank. I don't know if those are fixable. You know what I mean? Let's see. Eastside Badger says prison would have been a great permanent home, no real enemies, lots of land to grow crops, solid agriculture, and buildings that will last. Yeah, that's true, Eastside Badger. But the thing is, Alexandria is obviously so much better, and it's so much more renewable. Like it's built to last longer than the prison. And the thing is, the prison had so many issues. Like it had collapsed walls and holes in the gate. So and plus, like Rick and Carl was still dealing with like the night before the prison fell, a bunch of walkers got through a hole in the fence. So you know what I mean? Like the fences not only need to be repaired, they need to be rebuilt again. Like maybe they need to build a wall or something around the prison. They had issues with that. I mean, could the prison have lasted longer than a year? Like the group wait, yeah. The group was only in the prison for like a year. So could they have lasted longer? Absolutely, but it makes sense, how they ended it. Let's see. Dan says, yeah, I agree with that. There was nothing wrong with the prison. They could have fixed it. And you say, but then we never would have seen Negan, so keep it destroyed, lol. And what about Herschel's farm? They could have went. Wait, you guys say the prison? They could have went to the prison. What about Herschel's farm? Why didn't they, go back to Herschel's farm, kill the walkers? I mean, sure, the farm did not have strong fences, but it had lots of land, a good house, and lots of open space to watch for danger. So, they should have went back to the farm, after the prison fell. Let's see. Renee says, yes, yes, it was a mistake. Noah was so likable. Yeah, I agree, Renee. I don't know why they killed off Noah. Like, I don't know if they just wanted a brutal death or it was because the actor was too expensive, but like I'm sorry, they should have kept up Noah for at least a little longer. They were giving him a decent story, he was likable, and plus Beth died to save him, to free him. Why kill him off so soon? That makes it so pointless. It just doesn't make sense. Dan says his death was so brutal. They did a good job on that. I'll give them that. Thanks, Greg. Yeah, I mean, I can't I never rewatch that scene. I never rewatch Noah's death. It's impossible for me. It's just too much. I can't stand it. Like it makes me sick even just when it even in thumbnails, whatever, I just can't get into it. Again, yeah, I mean, I get it. It was a brutal, yeah, it was brutal absolutely. But we didn't need it cuz Aiden got a brutal death too. So it's like did we really need two? That's why I don't like Scott Gimple doing double deaths. He needed to stop that. I got sick and tired of Scott Gimple doing double deaths because, like I said, it's hard to figure out which one's which. You know what I mean? Like which one was sadder, which one was more brutal. Like people still, it's you overwhelm the audience. Renee says, "True, Dan," and Epic says, "I'm just saying they were getting rid of Hilltop leaders too quickly. First Maggie, then Paul, then Tara." Yeah, I agree, Epic. Man, don't be a leader of the Hilltop. I don't know. After Maggie left the Hilltop, it just started going downhill like crazy. And let's see. Dan says maybe Ezekiel. It's like why? Yeah, I don't think Ezekiel's a leader, but we know Ezekiel's gonna survive the Whisper War. Renee says Alexandra is nicer to look at. Yeah, absolutely, Renee. Alexandra is so much better as a community. Could the people be a lot better? Absolutely. I mean, besides Aaron, the Alexandrians are horrible. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. Okay, so Spencer was pretty bad. Aiden was not. He was not a skilled survivor. Nicholas was a terrible person and survivor. Tobin was a big guy, but he was cowardly. Like, there was hardly anyone likable in Alexandria. Like, there was Jesse, Aaron. Like, that was pretty much it. The kids, Ron and Sam, were spoiled, and I don't know. They should have had more likable characters in Alexandria. Looking back on it, I would have introduced some TV only Alexandrians and like had them be like super likable and what I mean tough, just to stand out from the weaker Alexandrians. Let's see. Dan says Alexandria is awesome. I hope they keep it in the show. Yeah, me too, Dan. I've heard some people say that Alexandria is gonna fall in season 10 and it's never gonna like it's gonna be gone forever, but I hope not. And it's not like a spoiler. It's just that some people think that might happen. Like the show might change it up, but I don't think so. They own that set, so they probably want to reuse it. And yeah, if I had to choose, like I would definitely choose Alexandria over the prison. And if I had to choose to leave Alexandria or stay in it, I would stay in Alexandria. You know what I mean? It's way better than the Hilltop. Epic says Gimple is a terrible writer. That's why. Yeah, I mean, season 5 was great, but it had so many mistakes. The Beth hospital arc was terrible. Worst original arc in the show ever. And killing off Noah like that, like, it was just not necessary. They should have kept him longer. I mean, exactly. Like that's why the show needed fans like us to keep Gimple in check. You know what I mean? Just to touch up those writing issues. You know what I mean? Just to make sure he doesn't make mistakes, minor, major, that kind of thing. Let's see. Dan says true, and Epic says I'm sorry. I'm just not a Gimple fan. I don't like him. Now you don't have to be sorry, Epic. I mean, like Gimple wrote season 4 and 5 really well. Some mistakes here and there could have been better. Season 6, uh, a couple more problems, but it was still one of my favorite seasons. Season 7 and 8 were just terrible, and he just had to go. Like we had 2 years of terrible Walking Dead. It was just bad. Let's see. Eastside Badger says, "Huh? Prisons are meant to last for 100 years. A prison is 100% sustainable. They're designed to be off the grid." Yeah, but like, didn't the prison have like power issues? And I mean, the prison that they went to didn't have power issues, and like it had like too many corridors and stuff. People were getting lost. I don't think Rick's group was big enough for it, and like they were vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like they go outside to burn walkers and they can get ambushed by people. Like so, because there's a forest around them, they can get ambushed. And I get what you're trying to say, Issa Badger. But if you look at season 2, the prison, or season 3, the prison has so many collapsed walls. Like they never fixed that, and they should have fixed that honestly at some point. But yeah, I mean they were having trouble with the prison. They were having trouble with food as well. So I don't know what was going on. Renee says, yeah, Gimple did get out of control with the deaths. Yeah, exactly, Renee. I mean, I can think of many deaths. I mean, you probably weren't here from my previous live streams. Yeah, you weren't. But one of the deaths that I hate that he did in the show was Benjamin from the Kingdom. Like I hated that they killed off a new character that was likable and just for shock value and just you know like it felt like no reason, and I feel like he had potential, you know what I mean? Plus Benjamin was still alive in the comics, so I didn't really get why they had to kill him off. Like I just didn't like that Gimple kept killing off characters for shock value and when they had potential. You know what I mean? I just hated that. Let's see. Eastside Badger says I don't like Gimp either. Epic, and Dan says he's terrible. Yeah, it looks like this is starting to be a Gimple rant. Let's see. Renee says to Epic, he's written a few good episodes, but he shouldn't be a part of The Walking Dead anymore uh, at all anymore. Yeah, I agree, Renee. When I saw Gimple in the talking about the teaser that came out today, I don't know, I just didn't want to see him on it. You know what I mean? Like he should be writing the movies now. Like I don't know, like I mean, he could. It's fine that he wants to watch the show where it's going, but I feel like he should have no say in what the show does. You know what I mean? Like Angela King should be in charge of the show completely. Let's see. Eastside Badger says, "Oh, by the way, guys, we hit the 2 hour mark. I think I want to go for another 20 to 30 minutes. Sound good with you guys? I don't want to go 3 hours tonight. Let's see. Um, wait, where am I? Okay, Eastside Badger says never liked Hilltop. At least Weasel Gregory made it interesting. Yeah, I agree, Eastside Badger. Like, but Gimple did a horrible job with the Hilltop. Like, I remember watching that episode at my brother's house, and the Hilltop, like Rick's group got there, and it was so small, and there was like one person walking around. Like Hilltop is supposed to be this big, thriving community, and it just looked like a ghost town. You know what I mean? And it had like so little. Like Alexandria looks so much better. Like Hilltop looks so disappointing. It made me laugh. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, like Gimpo, you had a budget, and this is what you did with it. Like unbelievable. And let's see, you say Paul Rovia. Oh yeah, I remember he. I remember they made him Rovia in the show because they didn't want to make him Monroe. Paul Rovia made Hilltop interesting until his death. Yeah, kind of Eastside Badger, but they didn't write Paul well at all in season 7 and 8. Like, well, especially season 8. Like in season 7, they should have given him more to do, but season 8, like I don't know. They just had him be all preachy to Morgan, saying like, "Oh, you don't, use this for the dead and use this for the living." Like what? Like I thought Paul was okay with killing, and then after Rick spared Negan, Paul was on Maggie's side to overthrow Rick. Like that was so weird. Like I don't get it. I don't know. It was just weird how they set it up. Dan says Gregory was such a pushover. It was hilarious when Simon would visit. LOL, love those scenes. Yeah, yeah, that was funny. But like I didn't understand why Simon, like when they took the doctor, they brought like a bunch of aspirin, like this giant like crate full of it, and I'm like, why did they bring that? Like what was the point of that? Um, I found that really cringy. Eastside Badge says love the Gregory and Simon scenes. Gregory takes some risks. Yeah, remember the part where Gregory's like, "You need the juice. I am the juice," and Simon just like twists his finger and just like shoves his whole body down just like that, just from the finger. That was so bad, but it was also laughable. Let's see. Epic says also they had a lot of bad memories in that prison. Rick lost his wife and T Dog. They're Yeah, I agree. Epic. One thing I'd never understood is how the Walker ate Lori's body. Um, that's one like I don't know. I don't like. I hope you guys don't disagree with me, but that is a huge flaw I had with The Walking Dead. There is no way one walker can eat an entire body. You know what I mean? Like the skull, the long bones. Like there's no way. When Rick went back to look for Lori's body, he should have found it. Um, I don't care if the walker is eating it. Just they should have shown us Lori's body. I hated what they did in the show. My brother got so mad when they did that because it made no sense to the story. It's a plot hole. A one walker cannot eat an entire body. There's just like in an hour or two. There's just no way. Like yeah, there's just nowhere for it to go. A whole body just does not do that. Let's see. Eastside Badge says Simon, I like tequila. Yeah. Oh, but didn't he say he was a gin man too? Or that was before. Yeah. Simon was great. Like as a villain, as a character, he's probably one of like as far as like TV only characters, he's probably one of the best that Gimple has done. Let's see. Dan says love when he says take this to Negan to the Negan truck, okay? LOL. Yeah, it's like what is the Negan truck? Is it the truck with a baseball bat? Is it the truck with like what does it say on it? Like how do they know it's the Negan truck? I mean, I guess it's the truck that goes to the sanctuary, but yeah. Let's see. Epic says like if I was writing season 7, I would have had Benjamin survive to season 8 and him fight alongside Morgan. Yes, I agree, Epic. I would have had Benjamin be a long-lasting character. Just like a new Glenn or like just like a young character with potential, just one that we can root for throughout the show who gets stronger over time, just like a character like that to build off of. I feel like we needed that. Plus like Morgan, he was leaving. Morgan left after season 8, and you could still keep Benjamin in the main show. Like they could have done that, but no, and that stinks. Let's see. Eastside Badger says anyone watch Sokka to May. She does good Walking Dead edits. No, I have never seen Sokka to May. I might look her up. Let's see. Let me just type her in real quick so I don't forget. Hold on. Hold on, Eastside Badger. I'm gonna try and just type it in real quick. Let's see. Hold on, guys. Okay, so I looked it up now. I'm not gonna watch it now, but I'm gonna try and get to it when I have time. So yeah, Thanks, Eastside Badger. I haven't seen hers, but I'll give it a try. And Dan says, no, but I'll check it out. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Eastside Badger. I love Walking Dead edits. And if you guys have not seen Funny or Die's Walking Dead Season 8 reviews, I suggested them to Dan, and he loved them. He enjoyed them. I found them so hilarious. I wish he did more for the other seasons, but unfortunately they don't do 'em- they don't do it. I don't know why, but yeah, it was great. Let's see. Epic says it's mainly because of Gimple him underutilizing Paul and keeping him in the background. Yeah, I don't understand that, Epic. Like, you have one of the most awesome comic characters, one of the best fighters, and you decide to underuse him in a war. Like, why? And Paul had amazing scenes in the war, and he brought up a good point to Rick. He said, "Do you think we're making the dead's lives easier? We're killing each other." Like, that actually helped Rick decide to spare Negan. You know what I mean? I can't believe they didn't do that in the show. Let's see. I should speed this up. Renee says Simon was insane. Yeah, he was. Eastside Badger says he was. He was Renee. He definitely was. Dan says once he killed the garbage people, he just went crazy. Or LOL. I don't know, Dan. I think that was a very sane decision, if you know what I mean. Honestly, like, who wouldn't have done that? Because the garbage people were the worst. I mean, he took out the trash, and I was glad. Let's see. And Renee says, yeah, that actually really shocked me, Dan. Let's see. And Dan says, so satisfying to see the garbage people die, though. LOL. Yeah, I agree, Dan. They were not interesting at all. Like the worst group ever introduced in the show. And remember, we had Oceanside. Epic says also Ben's death was so bad, the whole having Richard be responsible for it, and Morgan kills him. That shows how messy season 7 was. Yeah, it's like Morgan knew that killing off Benjamin in the story was a mistake, and then he killed off Richard. Like, if Richard was supposed to be the one to die, why not just have him die? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I don't get Gimple doing the double deaths. You know what I mean? Because, like, Morgan just kills Richard. Like, if Richard had to die in that episode, why take out Benjamin too? Like, we have, like, they introduce, like, 6 characters from the kingdom, and they kill off 2 in just one episode, and they kill off a couple more in the war. So we pretty much just have Ezekiel, Jerry, and Diane. Like that was it. Like we definitely need Benjamin in the story. Like we needed him just because like right now we have so few people from the kingdom left. Yeah, I mean season 7 was so messy. Absolutely epic. Yeah, agreed. Eastside Badger says, "Let's be clear. Why would Rick be sad for a woman that got knocked up by his best friend, then force the two into a confrontation, and then be mad at him for taking Shane out? Yeah, Michonne, upgrade." Well, yes, Eastside Badger, but to be fair, the show messed up. They said that Lori was upset with Rick because he killed Shane, but if you rewatch the scene, you can clearly see that Lori just becomes upset as soon as Rick says that Carl killed him, because Lori was shocked that Carl did that. She was upset with Rick that he let their son do that when even Lori doesn't think she could have done that. You know what I mean? So if you rewatch that scene, it doesn't make me hate Lori as much because that's how I got the scene. That is my head canon for the scene. Um, Even if they say she was upset that Rick killed Shane, I will not believe them because I rewatched that scene and I clearly see it happens immediately after Rick says, Carl killed Shane as a zombie. Let's see. Renee says Winslow was fun. Um, yeah, but he wasn't fun for Rick. He gave Rick tetanus. So yeah, yeah, Rick got a lot of tetanus from Winslow. Um, yeah. Let's see. Eastside Badger says, "Love me some Winslow." Yeah. Do you guys remember the season 8 Winslow, the Winslow 2.0? That was such a disappointment. Like they were gonna have Rick get bit or something, and then, oh man, that second Winslow was so disappointing. Uh, let's see. In season 8, Dan says Michonne is better looking than Lori as well. I might add, LOL. Yeah, I agree, Dan. Absolutely. Lori was really skinny. Yeah, Lori was very skinny. She couldn't fight anyone. Let's see. Epic says also in a way Gimple screwed over Paul by underutilizing him that led to him dying in season 9. Yeah, that's partially why I don't blame Angela Kang for what happened with Paul, just because Scott Gimple's bad decisions in the previous seasons just continued, and it had a repercussion seasons later. You know what I mean? Like right now, like would I rather have Carl than Judith? Yes. I'd rather have a recasted Carl than Judith, but unfortunately, because Gimple killed him off in season 8, we can never get that, you know? So I don't really blame Angela King. If someone says that, oh, they replaced Carl with a female girl, you know, like replaced a male with a female, I will not defend that because that was Gimple's decision pretty much. So yeah, and Kang had to fix that, you know? Let's see. Eastside Badger says, agree, Dan. Michonne is a queen. Yeah, she is. It's too bad she's leaving, though. I can't believe Michonne is leaving. By the way, did you guys see the. Like, I watched a new promo, and I saw Deny, and when she was talking about the second half of season 10, I see her with. She's got, like, this hat on, and it just makes me think, like, oh, man, she's leaving. Like, that hat is just more proof that she's leaving the story. You know what I mean? Because Michonne would never wear a hat like that. Let's see. Renee says Michonne is the most mentally stable person on the show. What are they going to do without her? Yeah, I don't know, Renee. That's exactly why they should have had more characters from the previous seasons. Like, imagine if Glenn was still in the show. Like, we would like obviously he would be the most stable person. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't be so bad if we still had Glenn or like Carl or just someone. But unfortunately, we don't. Dan says, "I know. I can't even imagine." Yeah, me either, Dan. I mean, at least we'll still at least we'll have Maggie and Herschel Jr. I want to add, but they got to do something great with them. Like they got to make Maggie likable again. And if it was a one-on-one fight, we all know that Michonne would win. Maggie, like sure she could fight Gregory, but Maggie is not a fighter. No way, absolutely. Like yeah, Michonne beats her. Let's see. Renee says, I guess Daryl is a close second. Um, maybe Renee. I'm not really sure. Man, we're really running out of characters pretty much. I mean, yeah, I guess Daryl is somewhat stable. Yeah, Carol's not stable at the moment. Issa Badge says, I rewatched that scene 20 times. She started getting a nasty look before he said anything about Carl. Um, yeah, but she didn't look like horrified. I guess is what I'm trying to say, Issa Badger. She looked a little concerned, nervous, just like whoa, like Rick actually did it. Like maybe I shouldn't have told him that. But as soon as Lori mentions Carl, by the way, you say Coral, I find that funny. But as soon as Rick mentions to Lori that Carl killed Shane, she gets sick. You know what I mean? So I think it was mostly that. They should not have said it differently. Epic says that's another thing I hated about the Junkyard Group is how they kept pulling out these Winslow Walkers like, where are you getting them from? Yeah, not only that, Epic, but think about this. How many people got cut or died building the first Winslow? You know what I mean? Because they would have to put the blade in it and, you know, push it back and then get out of the thing. Like, wasn't there blood on the blades too? I mean, how many people died to build Winslow? Like, come on, just oh, it just makes no sense. Dan says, I know it's like, do the CRM give you that too? Like, come on. Yeah, Dan, I cannot believe that the CRM trades with these, I'm sorry, savages, like these garbage living hermits. Like seriously, the most advanced group in the world of The Walking Dead is trading with the worst group, with the most primitive group. They live in trash. You know, I mean, just come on. Like that's just it's so wrong. Like why did Gimple decide to do that? He could have introduced the CRM a different way, like how we're getting right now in The Walking Dead season 10. Like they could have done it that way, or in Fear. They could have like it just works so much better those ways than how they were doing in season 7 and 8. Let's see. Renee says, "LOL, epic. It was very odd." Yeah, I agree. Um, yeah, that scene was odd. I mean, I believe you that Lori had a weird look when he said that he killed Shane, but I think like it was just kind of like nervous. You know, like Rick actually went through with it. Like she didn't actually think Rick could do something like that. But then when he says that Carl killed zombie Shane, she gets sick. You know what I mean? And she pushes Rick back. She gets mad. She doesn't recognize him. Like I feel like it's from that. You know what I mean? Let's see, because sometimes the audience, the fans, know more than the writers. I mean, if you want to believe that, that's fine. But I'm just saying, like from my perspective, I just don't think that's canon. what they said. Let's see, guys. We've been going on for about 2 hours and 19 minutes now. Um, I want to give this. I think I want to give this another 5 minutes. Let's see. Renee says Gabriel never told anyone about Jadis trading people that we know of. Not only that, like, did he know about the helicopter? Negan definitely knew about the helicopter. So that was weird. Like, I just don't get it. Um, like, did also Morgan lived in the junkyard group? Did he never find Jadis's stuff? You know what I mean? Did he never find her satellite phone? Anything about the CRM? I don't know. That was weird. Oh, dang it. Sorry, my mic. Let's see. Eastside Badger says disagree. She wanted Shane to win. Rick knew after her freak out. Why do you think he couldn't stand her after that? Well, I don't know, Eastside Badger. I just thought it was the weird writing between season 2 to 3. I mean, they did that whole time skip. I mean, I guess Chandler Riggs aged, but yeah, that was weird. They did a time skip of like 7, 8 months, and then the group has just been traveling around the area the whole time. And for some reason, like they didn't know the prison was there. That was so weird. Like, I don't know. They definitely should have done a better job when they were introducing season 3, like the prison. Renee says, I don't think Gabe knew about the helicopter. Yeah, I don't think so either, Renee. A lot of people, like from Trev's Chan, they asked him, and like, yeah, Negan knew about the helicopter, but here's the thing: Gabriel did know that Jadis had a satellite phone and that she was, you know, taking people away, and like he didn't know that there was a community far away. Like, you know what I mean? So he should have gotten some idea. Dan says Jadis is like a 2-year-old that's learning words, but then all her people die and she talks normally, like really Gimple. Yeah, I don't know why they did that. The whole if Jadis was a scout for the CRM, why didn't she take her people back to the CRM to do experiments to? Did she love her people? Did she? I don't know. Just I don't get what their plan was in the junkyard group. You know what I mean? Like, was her job to send people constantly? Because according to the wiki, the garbage people had like there was like 100 of them, and I'm sorry, that's just so dumb. Like, you expect me to believe 100 people can live in that trash pit? Come on, like that's unbelievable, even by Walking Dead standards. Let's see. Eastside Badger says I would have laughed if Lori had survived and Rick had hooked up with Michonne, and Lori had to just sit there and watch it happen. Yeah, you really don't like Lori. I mean, Lori was okay. So season 1, Lori was okay. Season 2, she was really unbearable, and season 3, she was fine. Um, I think it's weird. Like season 3, Lori when she died was the most likable. That's weird. Renee says right. He should have told people. Yeah, I agree, Renee. Like Gabriel should have at least said, "Hey, I saw Michonne. Sorry, not Michonne. I saw Jadis talking to someone on a phone, like a satellite phone, probably, and she said that I traded. He should tell them like Jada said that she traded people, and and said something about A or B, and she said there's a community far away. So I don't know. Like he definitely should have mentioned that. Let's see. Dan says I wish that would have happened. Eastside. Yeah, yeah, I know, Dan. You do not like Lori either, not one bit. I don't think Lori has any lovers in the Walking Dead fan base, pretty much. Not that I'm one of them, obviously, but like I'm just saying, like I just don't think like okay, so like Lori is definitely worse than the comic version, but like Nicholas is like he's got to be the worst character from the comic to the show. He's just got to be. Renee says, This is cold, but I couldn't wait for Rick to stop hallucinating her ghost. Uh, no, I agree, Renee. When Rick started hallucinating Lori, I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, Rick, you were being, like, I just don't get it. Like, you were being very cold to Lori in season 3, and then she dies, and then you just start hallucinating her, going crazy, not even looking at your baby. It's just like one of those things where it's like, I don't get what was happening. And then he told Tyrese's group to get out, and that was just so bad. Let's see. Eastside Badge says, remember the windmill on Herschel's farm? Lori's little talk with Shane. Lori made her choice and chose Shane. Um, no, I'm pretty sure Eastside Badger. I'm pretty sure that she said like, "I'm sorry, Shane. I should have, like I choose Rick." I thought she said I was choosing Rick. Um, I thought she said that like I thought Lori was apologizing to Shane kind of, but still said something like that she kind of cared for him. Um, Man, I haven't seen that scene in forever. Let's see. Eastside Badger says agree, Renee. Dan says also agreed, and you say yeah, she chose Shane. That's weird, Dan. I don't really remember that scene. No one talks about that scene. Um, I thought she said like I'm sorry, like it can't work anymore. Like I thought that's what she said. Um, yeah, that's weird. Why am I remembering this wrong? Um, I don't know. I guess I haven't rewatched that scene in like 8 years, but um, yeah, that's really weird. Let's see. Oh, it's 11 o'clock now, guys. Let's see. I'm gonna wrap it up in maybe 5 more minutes. So yeah, if you guys want to get any last comments or questions, just please let's have them now, cause yeah, I think I want to end the stream soon. Yeah, it's been a night. It's been a crazy night for me, and yeah. Um, let's see. Let's see if we got anyone. Yeah, I don't know when my next live stream's gonna be. It's probably gonna be Friday, but there's a chance it might not happen. I'm gonna try and have it be on Friday. Let's see. Eastside Badger says, "I wonder if Carl is Shane's as well." No, he is not Shane's. Well, he was not Shane's child as well, but yeah. That would mean that RJ is the only child that Rick ever had. But yeah, um, yeah, that's weird. We were talking about the promos, and then we started ranting on Gimple, and now we're ranting on Lori. This is a very interesting live stream, guys. Let's see. Dang it, where is it? Where is it? Dan says, "Wouldn't be surprised." LOL. Epic says, "Hey, when's the next stream?" It's probably gonna be Friday night. It's probably gonna be Friday night, either 8:30 or 9:30. It depends if honestly, I'm not really sure. So I'm I gotta make sure that my family and I are not doing anything Friday night. Um, I'm gonna ask them and make sure that I'm free for the live stream. So yeah, I'm gonna ask them. It's probably gonna be Friday night. So I'm gonna ask them if I can do the live stream for you guys and for me as well. So yeah, like I said, it should be Friday night, but you know, fingers crossed. Let's see. Eastside Badger says, "Nah, she was giving Shane fuel." Yeah, kind of, but I thought it was unintentional. I don't know, it's just how I read the scene. Let's see, Epic says, also in a way, Carl would still be alive if Shane was alive still. Maybe Epic. It's so hard to predict. Like, okay, so like The Walking Dead would be better with Glenn, Carl, Benjamin, like certain characters that you wanted to see more of, it would definitely be better. You know what I mean? But as far as like if it would be better if Shane was still alive, like I don't know, what they had in that scene was great. Like when I think of Shane dying, I'm just like, wow, that was such a great scene. When I think of Carl dying, I don't think that's a great scene. You know what I mean? Let's see. Dan says Friday is great, great way to end the week. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much how the schedule is. Mondays and Fridays live streams. Let's see. Um, and Eastside Badger says, "Great stream. Good night, Dan, Renee, Brian, Epic. Yeah, good night, Eastside Badger. I'm gonna end it really soon. Yeah, actually, probably a few minutes. Let's see. Yeah, Eastside Badger. Have a good night. Hope to see you on Friday, and hopefully I can get the live stream, done on Friday. But like I said, I gotta make sure I'm free. Let's see. Dan says Friday. Oh wait, you already said that. Let's see. Dan says, "Good night, Badger." Epic says, "By the way, sorry about talking about the Titanic earlier. I've been a Titanic enthusiast since childhood." No, no, you don't have to be sorry, Epic. I appreciate any, different questions, even if it's not Walking Dead, just something else to mix it up a little bit. It helps, what I mean, just not only fill it out, but it's nice to just like take just a couple seconds from The Walking Dead and just talk about something else, just to get my mind flowing. But yeah, I've just never been a Titanic fan. But yeah, I mean, I do love history, but like fictional stuff like Walking Dead, it's just more exciting. You know what I mean? So yeah, and let's see. Eastside Badger says good night. Yeah, good night, Eastside Badger. Yeah, I hope to see you on Friday. And yeah, I think that's it, guys. Let's see. Yeah, you guys. Let's see. Do you guys have any last minute comments or something? I'm gonna end in next minute or so. And maybe a topic for Friday. Like, what do you guys want to talk about on Friday? Because I think this is gonna be the last teaser. Like the AMC released earlier today. I think that's gonna be the last teaser. I really hope we don't get any more just because I want to go into episode 9 really surprised. By the way, did you guys see Ronnie Hayes' new video that he just posted like a few hours ago? Yeah, like before I did the stream because I did not see it and yeah, I did not see the video. I don't want any spoilers. I don't want to know anything about episode 9 and 10. Let's see. Renee says this was fun. I'll be out of town. Not sure if I'll be around Friday, but maybe. Hope everyone has a good night. Thanks, Brian. Well, thank you, Renee, so much for coming. It's great to have you here and or to have had you here, I should say. And yeah, I hope to see you next time or maybe the next time if you can't make it, but that's okay. I'll probably just have a shorter stream that day. But yeah, man, I'm so glad you came. I really appreciate it. And yeah, take care when you're going out of town. Stay safe. So let's see. Dan says thanks for the great stream, man. Yeah, you're welcome, Dan, and thank you for the videos you posted earlier. They were a great watch. Let's see. And Dan says, have a good night, Renee. Epic says, also, if dog dies, I'm going to be very, very angry, especially if he dies by walkers. Oh, man. Yeah, me too. Let's see. And Renee says, avoid the Forbes reviews. They have spoilers. Yeah, maybe Ronnie Hayes was talking about that in the video he posted. I will avoid the. Thank you for the warning, Renee. The Forbes reviews, I will avoid those as much as I can, especially comment sections. I will try to avoid those. Renee says, "Thanks, Brian. You're doing a great job." Well, thank you so much, Renee. I'm so glad. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, yeah, guys, and oh, Dan says, "I know I hate Forbes." Yeah, I do not like Forbes at all. And if the fact that they're gonna spoil it, like, come on, why spoil it? Just it's not fair to the fans. So, yeah. So, all right, guys. Let's see. Eastside Badger, Epic. Let's see, Dan and Renee, thank you guys so much for coming. I think I'm going to end the stream here. Oh, wait, let's see. Epic says because for whatever reason they always feed animals to walkers. Like, why? Yeah, I don't know that, Epic. They should mix it up a little bit. Like, animals never die in The Walking Dead by a human. It's always walkers. You know what I mean? That's unrealistic. So yeah, um, I agree, Epic. They should change it up a bit. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. Next live stream is probably gonna be on Friday. Fingers crossed, I'll be free. And yeah, so with the new teaser, just keep rewatching it. Enjoy whatever Walking Dead we have, and only 13 more days, guys. So I'm really excited. So yeah, guys, have a good night, all of you. Until next time.